That's all right. Hey, folks, coming back again, going live on the Razzball Fantasy Football podcast, folks. Super Madonna mia, spit everyone, come on. Little technical difficulties, folks, but that's okay. We're back for another episode of the Razzball Fantasy Football podcast. We were diving into some of the questions from our live stream before. We will break down some of those questions. Right now, we were covering Christian Watson and discussing his impact he could have in fantasy. Derek, why don't you finish up your statements on that?
Yeah, I was just saying, for me, he's a hold for now. 4 of the next 5 matchups are against defenses that are a little generous, we'll say, to wide receivers. So I would hold on to him. Just see if he and Love turn it around, and if they do, then you're going into the playoffs with a potential weapon, certainly at a flex spot. But for right now, he's a hold for me.
Yeah, Sky, any thoughts about Christian Watson rest of season?
Not excited at all. I think Romeo Doubs is the only guy I would want there. If anybody in the wide receiver core, 6 less than 7 PPR fantasy points for Christian Watson the last couple of weeks, and Romeo Doubs scored last week, so I'll pass.
Based on our rest of season, by the way, before we dive into some of these rest of season trade targets, we do want to recommend that you check out our rest of season strength of schedules over on Razzball.com. So what we did is we actually figured out, using our slot first wide metric, we have created another tool to show you who has the best out wide and slot matchups. Now, the Packers as a whole have a top 3 rest of season schedule. A lot of that is steered towards the slots, but in a week or so, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we're going to talk about when you get closer and closer to the actual fantasy playoffs, you're going to start, having 2 defenses. You might even have all your handcuffs. So we're breaking all that stuff down too. But then there is going to be a portion where you can have a high upside guy, like stashing players that are bye week fillers that are going to get you wide receiver 4 numbers aren't worth stashing. But a guy who can win you a week is. So I think that Christian Watson is a hold for now, in my opinion, because my thought process is he's probably the upside stash that if he does get hot down the stretch, he does have some good matchups down the stretch, that he's a guy that you could plug in and he can help you win. If you're a 6 seed, beat a 1 seed if he goes off. So I do not mind that at all. Let's talk about another question we had coming up here was wondering if you should keep Kareem Hunt or go with Singletary or Chandler. So it looks like a waiver wire question. Matt, kick it back over to you. In your waiver wire section here, I know Singletary had the big week. Ty Chandler could be a start this week, and then you also have Kareem Hunt on the roster. Which one of these guys are you favoring here?
Hunt is last, if not droppable at this point, because Ford is owning the volume. Derek and I actually texted back and forth about Ty Chandler. He's going to get the majority of the carries in Minnesota. Got decent hands out of the backfield, can also pass pro. And again, I'm not telling you to do anything, folks out there. I'm telling you my personal opinion is don't get sucked into the Devin Singletary web of deceit. 150 and a touchdown on 30 carries, 5 yards per carry. I love it. 1 catch, I think, for 11. I don't trust Devin Singletary. However, I think if you're in the fantasy world and you've got Ramondre or Kamara or help me out, who else is out? Big running backs are out this week. At least 4 number ones. Jonathan Taylor is one, and then there's a 4th one. I don't remember who the 4th one is offhand. Bijan and Algier. Devin Singletary will slot in nicely for you this week.
Yeah, just to add a little bit on Singletary, I mean, certainly Matt's right. You don't chase last week's points, but he does match up with a very favorable Arizona defense this week. So if you're not able to, get Ty Chandler, or you don't have another option, I would certainly wouldn't mind playing Singletary this week. But long term, he's not going to be the answer. But definitely a 1 week play.
Yeah, same. And you got to play matchups, and also, Dameon Pierce might be coming back too. So maybe ride it 1 more week. But Pittsburgh, Denver, the Rams, Jacksonville, Chicago's actually been pretty good against the run. Those are the Kareem Hunt, Jerome Ford matchups there. So I might ride Singletary 1 more week, but not thrilled going forward because we just don't know what's going to happen.
Just to add one last thing too. So our adjusted line yards master metric for the week, the number 4 matchup is Houston going up against Arizona. So I'm in. Like, I think the Pierce thing is a little. There was a couple guys that watch a lot of film that talked a little bit about the new zone running scheme that Shanahan ran, that Bobby Slolik runs, and Dameon Pierce was struggling with that zone scheme a little bit, and Singletary wasn't, and he was looking better. And then we finally saw what happens. He gets 30 carries, he goes off. There's a very good chance that he becomes the 1A now. Now, I do think that is he a locked-in starter? No. But I think on Sunday Live, we're going to get a lot of Singletary questions, and we have to take him seriously because the matchup is a top 5 matchup. So if I need to win this week, I'm going to go pick up – that Chandler's good too. He's got a top – if I need to win this week, I'm going to pick up Singletary. If I need a player for the rest of the season, I'm going to take the chance that Ty Chandler takes over that job over Madison. So, but I think if I'm going to go spot start Singletary, long-term Chandler.
And from a waiver perspective, everybody's going to clamor for Singletary. You can get Chandler theoretically for less fab.
Absolutely.
All right, Bob, all of those Razzball fantasy comments are the ones that were in our previous discussion. Yeah. So I've just typed them over for you.
That's fine. I said, Sky, take over their hosting duties. I got some retweeting to do because we lost our previous stream. So I'm just going to redo those. So
you got
take over hosting duties.
Yeah, here we go. So from Randy, and sorry again, everybody, for the technical glitch there. I'm having some issues on my side, and I might have ended that. So apologies, but welcome back once again to the Razzball Fantasy Football YouTube show. We got the standard quad box for Tuesdays, and we got something special for you, a bit of fruity coming up in a little bit. Stick around. Randy, we want to get your question. We got Breece Hall or Jalen Waddle for Tua. So we got both these guys, Breece and Waddle for Tua.
Well,
it's a trade target. Yes, go ahead.
That was actually Tyreek.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Breece Hall and Waddle for Tyreek. That was the question.
Yeah, that was the
trade.
Okay,
great. Yeah. Okay, so Breece Hall and Jalen Waddle for Tyreek. Do we know if this is PPR? We're going to go half. If not, here, Matt, I'll kick it up to you first. Would you rather Breece Hall and Jalen Waddle or Tyreek Hill rest of the season?
No, I'm taking Tyreek Hill with this deal. I'm not sold on anything I see from the Jets. Waddle's got a back issue, and Tyreek is right now minimum top 3 wide receiver in the NFL, and he's past his bye.
Derek?
Yeah, same for me. Tyreek plus whatever else that roster spot I can get for that roster spot is better than Breece and Waddle. So, yeah, I'm staying with Tyreek.
Totally agree. The upside of both those guys I think would match or maybe exceed Tyreek Hill, but we're not seeing the upside of either one of these guys. And Breece Hall, folks, is okay for fantasy right now, but Dalvin Cook is getting more work, and Breece Hall as an NFL running back, per Pro Football Focus and some extra adjusted line yards, is one of the worst efficient running backs right now in the NFL. Yards before contact, after contact. He had a couple big runs, which are nice, but it's not happening right now. So I agree, Tyreek Hill for me pretty easily in this one. I appreciate it. And you guys let me know if I'm skipping over anything here. I certainly don't want to do that. From Jamie, just curious, what is up with the fruit? And where is Bob's pear? Bob, do you want to address this one?
Yeah.
No, how about we stay tuned, Jamie?
I got mad pears tonight, folks. I'm super excited. At the end of the show, we're going to just be crushing them.
Let's go.
I got a bunch of pears. We're going to be trying every pear. I'm done. After tonight, we're about to find out. We got fruit. It's a fruit fest here. I'm excited. All right.
Stick around, folks. We have a lot coming up for you. Jamie, please don't go anywhere. Bill Dino. Okay, this one might be on me, and I'll wear it right away. And I do have a comeback for this. Bill Dino started DK against our advice. So first of all, Matt says this quite a bit. We are here to suggest we dive into numbers, maybe deeper than some of you. Maybe you dive in deeper than we do. We're here to have fun. We're here to suggest to you and the rest of us to make the best calculated decision. DK Metcalf had a couple, basically had his entire game on the final drive of the game, and maybe it worked out for you in fantasy. And Bill, I'm stoked that it did. I'm 100% excited about my call to not start DK Metcalf. He didn't look great. The Seahawks got smammered again, and it was great up until they had some garbage time. Didn't expect that, so I'm going to take the W myself. I'm glad you also got the W, and when we're wrong and it benefits you, I'm excited about that too.
I can't accept this. I can't accept this at all.
Bob,
Why not?
It's not for you to accept.
I'm not
You didn't
accepting
have a
this.
choice.
No, because I if you go to my wide receiver starts of the week article, it was DK Metcalf. That was my start of the week. So like I was the one in DK, and I got heckled.
And
I was the first half group chat. Bill, the first half group chat. You weren't even part of it. I was getting heckled by these guys. Matt was asking for stat reports after the first half, and I go, just give it some time. Gino's got 150 passing yards, and then it was all good. All good.
We have so much to get to this evening. I can't dwell on this enough. You're the absolute pro here. The three of us are just on your coattails. All right. You can't tell me that you felt good about that call until the last 3 plays of the game. That was abysmal. There's no chance that actually panned out as the play of the week. Nope, I'm not buying that either. Phil,
last time I checked is 4 quarters in football. Garbage time counts. I'm in.
Oh, knock it off.
God.
Jason
Gross.
Myers was correct. That's it.
Yeah, shout out to Jason Myers. I'll give you Jason Myers. We're going to punt the rest. He also traded Nico for Tua. He's deep at wide receivers. Had to do. Nico for Tua, I think, is a win, assuming that's a super flex situation. Nico Collins, unfortunately, still damaged. And we have our boy Noah Brown coming out of nowhere as well. So, Bill, we got another note from you here. This one's more updated. We have 5 top 20 wide receivers and Dobbs a QB. Also picked up Chandler and dropped Spears for a stash. So that's a question mark here. So are we dropping Spears, who's basically been 50-50 with Derrick Henry, who flopped this week, to pick up Ty Chandler? Derek, we'll go to you first.
Yeah, I mean, certainly for this week, that's not a bad play. And, maybe he catches lightning and, and runs with it. Certainly the Vikings aren't, eager to keep Madison in there. So they're giving Chandler the job. It's his for the taking, if he wants it. He comes in fresh. He's only had, prior to this week, only had about 10 carries all season. So it's his for the taking. And, if it hits and he runs with it, then, you've got a great ad. So, yeah, I would go ahead and make that play, pick up Chandler and drop Spears. I have no problem with that.
And part of it was
Matt,
concussion.
Agree, disagree?
Well, I agree, but part of the issue with Chandler was the Madison concussion. So for folks that didn't watch the Minnesota game or get that bit of news, Madison departed with ineffectiveness was part of it, but the concussion protocol took him out for good. So we have to, as I mentioned in my article, you have to watch the Madison status. You won't get any information tonight. So if you have Madison or if you need a running back, go after Chandler. And then if Madison is not able to go, then you've got the guy leading the way in Minnesota. So I take the starter over the stasher. And that right now the starter is Ty Chandler.
I think it's Chandler for me. Yeah, easy one. I'm going to take the shot on the guy who's got a decent matchup this week. Probably going to get the start. Madison has not done enough this year. They even tried to replace him for Cam Akers halfway through the year. So there is a chance that Ty Chandler could take over as the lead guy. I do think there probably is something to Madison, maybe in the pass pro and all that stuff. But this isn't Kirk Cousins anymore either, folks. So it's not the continuity we once had like in the beginning of the season. So there's a shot he gets the starting job. So I would definitely take the upside of Ty Chandler.
Yeah, same. Alexander Madison was one of my guys. I kept him in the keeper league this year, along with Tony Pollard. So that's gone well the last month. But Ty Chandler's been a thorn in the side all week. And then they bring in Cam Akers. So they do have other options out here, unfortunately, that are stepping into that. So I will go Ty Chandler, but Spears could be a massive handcuff down the stretch if anything happens to Henry. All right, this one's from Mike Verndon. Jaden Reed in a good slot matchup this week is the best Green Bay play outside of Aaron Jones. Thoughts? I know we kicked off the show here before we cut off a few minutes ago with some thoughts on Christian Watson. So this is kind of just Mike tuning into this. I had mentioned that Romeo Doubs was going to be my guy quickly around the horn, top Green Bay wide receiver rest of season, Matt, we'll start with you.
Dobbs, Jones, Reed, Musgrave, Watson.
Ooh, wow.
Derek?
Well, how can I follow that up?
I know,
I actually
right?
like the replay here. No, I don't mind Reed in the slot matchup. So yeah, I'm with you, Mike. Go with Reed.
Bob?
I mean, Watson was still second in routes, and led the team in targets. It didn't result to anything, but it's not like he's getting 2 targets blanking. He just didn't produce with his targets. So I'm good. I have to rank them. I mean,
One of the knocks on Watson coming out of South Dakota State is that he didn't have great hands, but he could run by anybody. So it's the Al Davis mentality for wide receivers. Fast is not always good.
I get it. I just think that it's going to be matchup dependent now. I don't think there's a true number one. Like, I don't think
Aaron Jones.
I meant for the receivers, right? Like, I think you could play the matchups. I think if you have a good slot matchup, I'd play Reed. I'd be confident in him. If it's an out wide matchup at a team that like could be a shootout, I'd take Watson. And Dobbs just seems like the safest. So I will go Dobbs, Reed, Watson myself as well.
Yep, Dobbs as well as my number one. Peter checking in. Are we keeping Taysom Hill? Again, I'll start this one off and kick it off. I was the play Taysom no matter what. You're going to get burned maybe, but you got to ride the wave, blah, blah, blah. We got burned. Happens. But any week, Taysom Hill can put up 20-plus fantasy points. Now, you have McBride and would like to free up a bench spot for a bench, running back wide receiver. In this particular case, absolutely, I would cut ties with Taysom Hill. I'm good with McBride. I think he's going to be a smash down the stretch, actually, 100%. Here, which is great. He has a great schedule coming up, and I think he's the top dog there. Kyler actually did look good, which we can get to as we go through the program, but McBride did look nice. So I'm okay dropping Taysom Hill in this case. Otherwise, I would pick him up in other leagues and then maybe pick up a stash in one of your handcuffs. Does anybody disagree?
No, I love McBride. Great call.
Yeah, contractually, Derek can't talk about Arizona tight ends.
Perfect.
That's okay.
Let's move on here. Oh, damn. I got cut off from the Watson question. But would you drop Watson for Noah Brown? Derek, we'll go back to you quick.
Would I drop Watson for Noah Brown? Yeah, if the matchup for Noah, despite what we've seen, I still think Noah Brown is a matchup. Bobby was just talking about, looking at the slot of a wide matchup. If the matchup is good for Noah Brown, then yes, I would actually play him. If I kept Watson, I would stash him. So if you need a play and the matchup is right, then yes, I would drop Watson for Noah Brown.
Man, you got to go for it, right?
Bob?
Noah Brown is the shoot your shot guy right now.
Yeah.
He's averaging 162 yards a game over his last 2 and half a touchdown.
And in the game that he got hurt week 1, right? He was with Dallas for a while, came over to Houston. In the game he got hurt in week 1, he played like 65% of the snaps. So like he's been on the field, he got hurt, then you have to come back. This passing game is no joke though. Like this is no like 2-week fling anymore. This is 6 weeks of CJ Stroud. All of a sudden, not only in the rookie of the year, pretty much locked it up already, but rookie of the year, but MVP conversation now. This is the real deal. And Nico Collins, even if he comes back, we all love Nico. We all love Tank Dell, of course. They can't run the ball outside of some Devin Singletary last week. And Schultz is nice, but I just think this is the third weapon, and I'm riding Noah Brown absolutely, and I would drop Watson for Brown myself.
Yeah, but if we're looking a little bit further out, if you look at the schedule around playoff time, got the Jets and Cleveland looming up there. So, he may help you get there, but you better have some other options to consider once playoff time comes.
The other problem is that these Texans wide receivers have basically perfectly timed their injuries to where one of them is out. And we haven't seen all 4 of them together yet. Because you got to remember, Robert Woods might not be fantasy relevant, but he's good for football teams. He's a good blocker. He gets on the field a lot. So once you have Nico back, you're going to have Robert Woods back. You're going to have Tank Dell. And early on in the season, Scott, when you brought that up, he was playing Nico Collins and Tank Dell and Noah Brown were playing ahead of they were playing ahead of Tank Dell. So Tank Dell was on the bench to start the year. So Tank Dell is not going to lose his job, we don't believe. So it's like you might as well take the shots. I would actually think Noah Brown would be the stash because after these 2 performances, if he becomes there's no reason to think Nico Collins or Tank Dell are the one for the rest of the year. Like, yeah, they had some good weeks, but it's all been hot hand. So why can't it be Noah Brown? He's been so good the last 2 weeks, so why not?
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that. And to Derek's point about the schedule, I like that. Quick note, I got a notification today that in one of my leagues, it's a Yahoo league, I believe, not a sponsor. I have a trade deadline coming up on Saturday in that league. It's my first one. It's ready to go. I commissioned like 5 of my 7 leagues. All of those are pushed out to December because I was able to make that choice and I like longer opportunity. But for the standard, just set it and forget it leagues that you join, go and check. You might have a trade deadline this week or next week, and you might get stuck making some moves. So be careful there. To Derek's point about the tough wide receiver playoff schedule, I'm all about that. I read into that a lot as well myself. But you have to get there first. And I would imagine, and I think Derek would agree with me, if you're looking to pick up Noah Brown or trade for a guy like Noah Brown, your wide receiver core is probably not amazing, and you may not be in a spot where you're just like waiting for the playoffs. We need to buy wins first, folks. We still have a few weeks. So go get Noah Brown, deal with the matchups later, in my opinion, unless you're already stacked, and in which case you might pass up on him. Anyway, Bob, I'm going to kick this one to you first here as our annual Derrick Henry love, and rightfully so. Look, King Henry, we know is King Henry. This is his time of year where he morphs into a handful of different snowy forest animals and goes berserk. Unfortunately, we didn't see that on Sunday. And while we just recommended maybe you drop Tajay Spears for some other options like Chandler, I'm not sure you want to drop him because maybe Henry slows down, could always, maybe get a hiccup, something like that. And that offense in Tennessee just doesn't look great with Will Levis hit or miss. So I'll go right to you here. This one's from Quinn. Quinn, good evening. Derrick Henry for Kenneth Walker and Zay Flowers.
I actually think Kenneth Walker is just on par. I think he's proven that he's on par with Derrick Henry. If you look at the schedule, it favors Kenneth Walker by a decent margin. I actually would rather have Walker personally. They leaned into Henry, and then they played Tampa, and then it kind of went flat again. It's just there hasn't been consistency. Will Levis had a very nice game the first game, but defenses realize that when you take away the deep pass, he's average again. He doesn't look great on the short area throws. He's not making the right reads. Like it's so I think they kind of figured out what he's like kind of, I don't want to say one trick pony, but I buy into the Kenneth Walker usage. I know that Zach Cabernet's on the ups too, but Zay Flowers, to me, as a throw-in, I would rather just take Kenneth Walker in general. So I'll take Zay Flowers if I need wide receiver help as well.
Matt, thumbs up. Derek?
Yeah, same for me. I want Walker and Flowers. I think there's more upside between the two than just with Henry alone. So yeah, I'll take Walker and Flowers.
And can I say for long time, first time, that name is almost Lombardi. This might be my favorite. Yeah. My favorite person to type in all year. I'm going to call it. This person is now Quinn Lombardi to me.
Count it.
Nice.
Let's not forget, folks, that the Baltimore Ravens are scoring 30 points a game, but all the running backs are getting the actual touchdowns and points. So if Lamar Jackson and Zay Flowers end up scoring points, it's going to come in bunches, and I think that will happen. Zay Flowers is a buy low for me right now. He's been in my trade article 3 times this year. And Ken Walker, who's a trade away a while back because he's injured, might be on the back end this way as well. So hard to move King Henry, but I think you can get quite a bit from him. I like that a lot. The Smitty. Is this the Smitty, Bob, you think? I think Smitty's tuning in to the Razzball Fantasy Football Show. We'll see. If it is Smitty, long time. If not, new, welcome in. All right, QB, Purdy, wide receivers are Sutton. QB is Purdy. Wide receivers are Sutton, Cooper, Holly Brown, Boyd and Collins. Running backs, Kamara, Aaron Jones, and CMC. Backup quarterback. Look at this, gentlemen. Backup quarterback is Lamar Jackson. Would you trade Lamar for Kupp and Elijah Mitchell? Handcuff for CMC plus Cooper Kupp. Getting rid of Lamar Jackson. You have Brock Purdy, who obviously is a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson. Matt, we'll go to you first on this one.
No. What do we think about Matt Stafford? Is he coming back? in week 11.
He's coming back. He's coming back.
He's back. And plus, they have Carson Wentz now. What are you worried about? So,
oh, shout out to the Ginger.
Right?
You know what? It's scary, scary, scary. But Gus Edwards right now is a better fantasy asset than Lamar Jackson.
Jesus, what are we doing?
So
here?
is Keaton Mitchell.
On
So
Pear
is
Day,
Justice
Matt.
Hill.
On Pear Day, we're gonna act like this.
I don't like it, right? Derek and I snuck by.
Well, it's Pear Day and he's eating grapes. So what do you expect?
Well, it's Fruit Day. I brought grapes because I knew there would be an argument and I could eat them like popcorn.
Nice.
Perfect.
If you trust Purdy, then pull the trigger because Stafford with Cup is a different level wide receiver than anybody you've got.
Oh, man.
And Lamar, 12 points a week, that doesn't cut it. So.
Yeah, so it surely caught my eye when the backup quarterback at Lamar. But, I got thinking about it. The Ravens still have a bye coming up.
Yep.
And, Purdy's clean. A healthy Cup with Stafford, and I could see why you'd want to handcuff CMC with Mitchell. I like the trade, actually. The more I think about it, the wide receivers he's got up there needs a boost. And, if you're bringing in a healthy Cup and adding to that core, he's got some good running backs. Purdy stays healthy. Yeah, maybe you do pick up Stafford, if he shows that his thumb is healthy. I like this team for Smitty. So the Smitty. So, I like the trade. I make it.
Sky, let me ask you this. Derek said that Purdy is clean. Is he fresh and clean, or just clean?
Well, ain't nobody dope as him. I'll tell you that right now. So that should answer your question. Lamar Jackson on the season, QB 5. Brock Purdy on the season, QB 11. But in points per game, Brock Purdy is literally 0.3 fantasy points. 0.3 fantasy points behind Lamar Jackson. Lamar has a bye coming up. Brock Purdy has been significantly better than him basically for the last month. I'm making this trade. I want Cooper Kupp, 100%. Even if it's 60%. And Elijah Mitchell is a league winner if anything happens to CMC. So I'm making that trade, absolutely. Smitty.
Well, before we move on, the other thing is, Cooper Kupp, we saw him for 2 weeks. He comes back, and he immediately looks like Cooper Kupp again. Then the third game is when Matthew Stafford got hurt. And then he's been playing with the backup quarterback for the last month or 3 weeks now. So his numbers are suppressed by the fact that Brett Rippin and all them couldn't get the job done. So this, the reason later in the show, I'm going to break down why Cooper Kupp is my trade target. But, when you look at, I'm like, man, this guy is the only other, he is a league-winning type player that for some reason I feel like you could probably get at a discount right now. And, if you could give up Lamar Jackson basically to get him and you have Brock Purdy, I think this is absolutely a no-brainer.
Yep. Samesies. And Jamie, if you're still around, thanks so much for sticking around, bud. And we will catch you next time. Chandler, trade Fields, Connor, Mike Evans for Josh Allen and Swift. This is a 6-point passing touchdown PPR league. So, again, we're going a bunch of non-quarterbacks, 4 quarterbacks. Here we go. Oh, Fields, quarterback. Fields, Connor, Evans for Allen and Swift. Derek, we'll go to you first.
No, I'm not doing this. He's got to have I don't know who his quarterback is now. He's got to have someone since Fields has been out. But no, Connor's coming back. He's gonna run the ball there. He's in Arizona. He's gonna get the rock. Mike Evans is Mike Evans. Josh Fields. He may not be last year's Josh Fields, but he'll be serviceable. So no, I'm not making this deal.
Well, I'm hoping he's Justin Fields. That's all I'm hoping. All right.
What did I say, Josh?
Josh Fields.
What's the
I'm still not making the deal.
The difference in Chicago is Josh Fields is probably a better pocket passer.
Wow.
I don't know that I'm taking this deal either. Are we assuming Fields is back week 11? He's trending, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Eberflus is a moron. He practiced all week and still didn't start him. Ridiculous. But Josh Allen has the third toughest schedule down the stretch. which is good for fantasy. Competitive games are good for quarterbacks, means they're going to have to stay in games and throw the football. But as much as I appreciate Allen and know that he gets better after games like he had last night, I think I'm going to keep Connor, and I'm going to keep Evans, and I'm going to keep Fields. So I'm with Derek on this one.
Same. I'm with Derek as well. All right, wait, for the rotation for the rest of the show, you going to go last, Guy? You want me to go last? You want to go this way in the loop? You want to loop it? Or do you want to go last to the host? I just want to know. How do you want to do it?
Go, Bob. Go.
All right. I was going to say I just agree with Derek, mostly because I would like to know what the other receivers are on his roster. Because he's on this end, he's throwing in Mike Evans, too. So you got to get rid of you're trading Fields, so you guys want Josh Allen and Swift, right? Is that the correct assumption here?
No. We want the field side.
You want field side? Yeah, I agree. Okay. Yeah, I agree. James Conner, back to back. He's one of my trade targets for this segment. But I just don't know what the other receivers are too. Like Evans isn't just a throw in here. So I understand that the Fields Josh Allen upgrade is solid, but I think we've kind of seen Fields' upside could match Josh Allen. So I'm actually going to keep Fields, Conner, and Evans.
Is Josh Allen an upgrade right now? I mean,
no.
Like the Bills are struggling majorly, and they just fired their offensive coordinator, which might be great, but it also might be terrible mid-season. Don't love that at all. Next couple of matchups here for Mike Evans. By the way, absolutely on pace for another 1,000-yard season. My Niners can't stop the pass unless they're playing the best AFC team. Then you got the Colts, Carolina, Atlanta. Those are nice plus matchups. And then whichever team shows up in Green Bay. So that's probably a nice matchup there as well. So Mike Evans is the best player in the deal, I think, by far. And then I want Fields, and then Connor and Swift are wash there. So I think that's a 4-pack, gentlemen, on a trade boost there. So like that one quite a bit. All right, we got a handful more. Once again, everyone tuning in here to the Tuesday night quad box. Got the 4 guys here. We do this every single Sunday morning as well. So check in 2 hours before kickoff in your local time zone right here on the Razzball Fantasy Football YouTube show. And make sure everyone here is subscribed. If you're not already, make sure to hit that bell, leave a subscribe, leave a comment below on your best trade target the rest of season. And, of course, if you have any questions, pop them in the chat. We got a lot of activity tonight. Trade deadlines are coming up, and we need to get into these. So we might just stick here with the chat all night, gentlemen. We got plenty to get through here. So let's get on our
Scott, you want some grapes, buddy?
I love grapes. And I have to say, maybe a hot take. Growing up in California, many a fruit abound. I'm just like, I like those thick purple grapes that have the seeds, and I just wolf the seeds right on down. Not a problem for me at all. So not highly recommended to eat. Yeah, not highly recommended to eat like arsenic-filled apple seeds, for example. Those can really tear up your tummy. But seeds from a watermelon, maybe a seed from a grape, not a problem there at all.
They put hair on your chin, right? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, it's worked out so far. I've had a beard since I was like 11, dude. So I'm good to go.
I genuinely enjoy you gentlemen as people, but your fruit takes, I just can't right now. I'm just out on you as fruit people. But overall, people.
What's the issue?
Bob, 2 weeks ago, you didn't know what a pear was.
I didn't say I didn't know what a pear was. That's a lie. Now you're messing up with the history. We'll go to the tape. I just said I never had a pear. I wasn't like
red flag.
Like 2 pears. No, that's not what happened. All right, so that's a lie.
Folks,
anyway,
okay, folks, please do us a favor. Maybe this will help Bob. Drop a comment right now. Any fruit out there, any fruit across the board that you've never had, right? Or you need to like try, and we'll evaluate those over the next couple of shows because there's so many great options out there for fruits. There's some hidden fruits like tomatoes and avocados and things, right? That we don't consider. Also, fun fact, bananas do have seeds. Let's move on here. Props to the sick Myers call, Bob. Any hints on the kicker this week? It's a little early, but who are we feeling?
Jason Myers, folks.
Again,
going right back to the well. Actually, the number 1 kicker in my analysis this week is Dustin Hopkins, but Hopkins has become like the K1. Like he's actually like the number 1 overall kicker right now in fantasy football. So he might not be available. Plus, he's got that game. That Pittsburgh-Cleveland Brown games could always be kind of ugly, but they end up being low scoring, which ends up being a lot of field goals. So it goes Hopkins, then Jason Myers, and then it's the Rams kicker, Lucas Havrick, I think is his name. He's my number 3 as well.
Why don't we call him a Lucas Pear since nobody's ever heard of him, Bob?
Okay, now you're doubling down on the lie. You know what? I can't respect you doubling down on the lie right now. All right.
Hey,
Bob.
the great
Bob, you
George.
want some popcorn? Popcorn, Bob.
Those are grapes, Matt. I know what those are. All right.
By the way, if you've never tried the cotton candy grapes, they're fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
The great George Costanza once said, "It's not a lie if you believe it." So stick to it, Styles. You'll be just fine. A real gopher. Pop quiz. What college did this person most likely go to?
Minnesota.
Oklahoma State.
Minnesota.
Count it. Oklahoma, Bob. Stay in your lane.
I don't know college football. I'm sorry. I don't do college football.
I'm aware.
I don't
We're
do
all
baseball.
aware now. We. I mean, if anybody didn't know,
Yeah,
now it's. I mean, come on. Shouts out to Matt Styles for knowing his Big Ten football. All right, here we go.
Aren't they the Beavers?
Moving on
right?
to
Aren't
half.
Like the Beavers or something, right?
Oregon State.
No, bro, they're Cowboys.
Oregon State, Oklahoma State. I said, gotcha. I'm sorry. That's on me. I'm all over the place. I wasn't even in the right state. That's how off I was. That's on me. All right, I'm sorry.
And we're off the rails. Guys, steer the train back onto the rails.
The college football
First of all,
quad box will be a tri box. Let's just go with that.
I'm out.
First of all,
I'm out.
there's only one college in the state of Oregon. Secondly, shouts out to the
Oh,
Cougs.
jeez.
Moving on here. Half PPR. Which side y'all prefer on your playoff bound? Humble flex.
Humble brag. Humble brag.
Humble flex. Love it. Your playoff bound team. Which side do you prefer? The trade offer is Pollard and Keaton Mitchell. I love that Keaton Mitchell just all of a sudden like valuable for Javonte. What y'all got? Derek, we'll start with you. You want Pollard and Keaton Mitchell or Javonte Williams?
No, Javonte for me all day. I'll take Javonte in the extra roster spot. Easy.
Javonte for me too.
I do think Keaton Mitchell has a pathway to being something. He's kind of Jahmyr Gibbs light for me right now. So there's a pathway for him. So I could see where someone may be interested. But I would make that deal quickly before the air comes out of that balloon. Get Javonte, get that extra roster spot, and set yourself up for the playoffs.
Styles?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Thumbs up. Matt or Baba?
It's funny. I have playoff schedules for everything, and then I looked at my running back thing, and I didn't have playoff schedules. I only have rest of season. Shame on me. That's shame on me. Let's see. Dallas has a pretty nice playoff schedule. They have
Rico Dowdle should be awesome.
Yeah, that's wild. Buffalo, Miami, Detroit. Yeah. Denver has Detroit, New England, Chargers. Yeah, I guess I'd be cool with Javonte. That should be fine.
Absolutely, Javonte. He finally looks healthy. And hey, don't look now, folks. I hate to jinx him, but Russ is absolutely cooking, and the Broncos are winning 3 in a row, and they've beaten 2 of the best teams in the league, hypothetically, with the Chiefs and the Bills. So
let's ride.
Broncos are starting to finish it up, and Matt is on the train. Bill, you're still with us. We are all about a poke. No worries. And again, I feel good about it. Bob went for the player of the week, right? Start of the week. So he gets to toot his horn, I guess, because it worked out. I feel very good about not playing DK.
You should,
because it didn't work out. And I trust the process. So I feel really good about that. Matt, look who's checking in. This is Beach.
Derek, I'm
Good
going to
evening.
need a little more.
There you go. Nice. Trade Saquon and Jordan Addison for Cooper Kupp. Is this fair? Let's go right to PPR leagues. We just talked about Cooper Kupp quite a bit. Matt Stafford is coming back. Bob, we're going to go straight to you. Fan outside of Adam Azer. Shouts out to Adam Azer. Saquon Barkley and Jordan Addison for Cooper Kupp. Is this fair? That's the question. And then what side do you want?
I want the Kupp side. I'm taking Kupp all day. I'm not. Trust me, the Giants situation is going to get ugly. Barkley is not the type of running back that can carry the ball 25 to 30 times and last. Yes. Touche. It's already ugly. But Barkley's just not built that way. So this week they actually dialed back his carries, and if he's not going to get you 25 carries in a game every week, he's not going to put up points. And the garbage time touchdowns, Barkley's not in the game for those. And Tommy DeVito, mom's making meatloaf later, ma, and he got yourself some garbage time touchdown. Yeah. Dude, there's somebody out there, the Superflex League, 16 teams flipping out over that touchdown. But anyway, I think Cooper Kupp, listen, I've talked about this before. There's very rare occasions where you could get the number one player in fantasy football on the cheap this late in the year, and that could be Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp's like one of the very few guys that can get you 25 PPR points in a game for like a season. He did it for a season and a half, and the first game he came back from his injury with Stafford, boom, hits the ground running, 20-plus points. So I'm going Cooper Kupp. And I'm assuming here you have at least 3 or 4 solid running backs that you're not going to be starting Devin Singletary at your RB2 rest of the season.
Yeah, this is a trade that I love to make. For Beach must be in good shape, and I agree. I think he's probably got a nice stable of running backs there that he can afford to do this. But, if you're sitting in good position and you're trying to build up your team for the playoffs, Saquon and Addison for Kupp, the question is this fair? On paper, it's not. The Saquon Addison side actually on paper is probably a little bit better, but I would love to make this deal for Kupp. I would love to add Kupp to my roster, and I would be happy to give up a running back of Saquon's caliber. And Addison, we were worried about him, but we know Dobbs is for real, and so Addison has value as well. So I think this is a win-win for both teams, but I would prefer the Kupp side. Now, this is a deal I love to make.
What Derek said.
Love it.
That's like the third time you said that, man. I like this.
Yeah, I've eaten too many grapes. My stomach's upset. I'm trying to get the show moving along. I may not last too much longer. I'm not a big grapes guy, so we'll see.
It's like they're
like a laxative, Bob. You know the deal. They're like coffee.
Oh, forget about it. I've had my mornings. On the show. I'm gonna pre-cut my pears.
Not a boy.
What are you
we're
doing?
getting ready, folks.
Nick, he's cutting the pears.
What am I supposed to do?
Bob, you could just eat them like an apple. Here, you know what?
I don't want to do that.
I want you to mute yourself. Bob, mute yourself. Go YouTube right now. Do it. YouTube, how to eat a pear. And then come back with us in like 90 seconds and then just execute. That's all you got to do. You're coachable.
What do you do? Do you eat your pizza with a fork and a knife, you communist?
Actually, you know what? If you're Italian, he might.
Ah,
All right, Bill's checking. Yeah, no shit. Bill's checking in here. We got a dragon fruit on the board. Not a common fruit at all, at least in the U.S. I have had a dragon fruit. Delicious. Absolutely delicious, Bill. Highly recommend it. Beach. There's no time for jokes. Okay, this is silly. Lettuce does not count, but we appreciate you chiming in, of course. Feel free to drop in the rest of those fruits that you guys have not tried. Bob will be trying for the first time ever, apparently.
So trying to get the show back on the rails here, I just want to add that, we were talking about what running back, I mentioned what running backs that Beach might have. So he's got Hubbard, Etienne, and Najee. So I would still make that deal. I'd still make the deal.
Yeah. All right.
3 starting running backs. Even though we're approaching week 12, is Jalen Warren going to be the guy in Pittsburgh? I think he was last week.
He already is. I mean, Najee is the starter, but Jalen Warren has outpaced him. And I'm going to talk about Najee in a second, but they're basically 50-50 the last month. Najee's come on, but Jalen Warren is the guy. Pat Daddy coming in here. You guys know I appreciate the advice. We appreciate you, my man. All right. So I'm not sure if we've done this one or not yet. This is T-Zinch. This is a tough one to Zinch. Okay, I love this. Here's a successful story, folks. Let's read it along. Started 1-6, but the team is Dak, Jonathan Taylor, Brees, Amon-Ra St. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Kincaid, Kupp, with Javonte Stevenson on the bench. Now, though, for 4-6, just dropped $190, folks. $190 in a 10-man full PPR league. Has to be the top scorer of the league. Jonathan Taylor was out for the first month. We'd love to see that. and Javonte Williams was also hurt. Kupp has missed some time. Dak has been hit or miss. Brees has been hit or miss. Amon-Ra missed time as well. Kincaid didn't come on to the second half of the season. This is what we try to preach every single year, folks. Stick with it. 2 more wins, you're right in the place. Hopefully in a 10-team league, it's only 4 teams, most likely, but it might be 6. Keep at it. Don't even have a question. We're just explaining. They're mentioning here that it's possible to get back on track. That's a 3-game win streak. We love to see that drop in 190. Well done.
It's a weekly game, by the way. When you get to this point, it's a weekly game. Like, you cannot care about playoff schedules. Do not care about players that might be better in 3 to 4 weeks. Like, you need to go out, and if you have to make trades, like if you have a guy on bye and you have to trade him, you have to win every single week. So you might be making trades every week to just make your roster better for that week. So don't be afraid to take care, like a little bit of a haircut long term to win that week. So keep it up. Good stuff.
Absolutely true. This is just an addendum to earlier. Bill jumping in here. Not sure he would get Chandler since he's got the 8th waiver spot, but Sharp is the second choice to drop. Do we stash in PPR? Yes or no? I would absolutely stash Charbonnet over Spears. Thumbs up. Derek, thumbs up. Bob, Charbonnet, Spears. Got it. Love that. Javier. What's up, Javier? This might be a new name as well. Javier Delgado. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. What is Tony Pollard's worth? Also, Goff or Kyler? Do you think the Lions will run the ball more than pass the ball? That is their tendency so far. Absolutely. And they have David Montgomery somehow breaking 75-yard ballers with Jahmyr Gibbs as well. They're absolutely just a great football team, 50-50 right now. So we'll start first here. Styles, we're going to go to you. What's Pollard's worth? And then when you go with Kyler and Goff, we know how you felt about Kyler coming into Sunday. I thought he played pretty well. So let's have you kick this one off.
So if we do get into our trade for names down the stretch, I will tell you what Pollard's worth was not last week. In both of our leagues, we have Devontae Adams, who is Devontae Adams, but had not looked good for 2 weeks. I offered Devontae Adams and a player. I don't remember who the player was. Doesn't matter. They would have been a starter or a fringe starter for Tony Pollard, and both teams rejected in the matter of minutes. So apparently Tony Pollard's worth is amazing. It's very high. I will tell you from a personal perspective, if Dallas puts up 49 points and Tony Pollard doesn't have any grass stains on his jersey and is not in the box score, his worth is 0. Oh. And by the way, how would you like to be the 2 teams that said no to Devontae and a player last week? Now you got to suck Tony Pollard this week and next week and the week after and the week after, while Rico Dowdle becomes RB1 in Dallas.
Yeah, Pollard's still retaining some hype, and he plays on the Cowboys. That's the only thing I can figure. I really don't want him. So if I have him, I'm stuck with him probably. But I'd rather not. As for the quarterback question, Goff is almost road proof. You know the rule is you start him at home, but he's played home games on the road this year, and so I'm running with Goff now. I'll still stash. I was a stash on Kyler. He played better than I expected this last week. I will admit that, but I'm still stashing him. I'm rolling with Goff right now.
Yeah, and I missed that part. I would love to have what I saw Sunday from Kyler as my backup to Goff, but I'm playing Goff. The one time Goff showed road Goff was when I called out our guy Savage, and I won that argument. It's humble brag, but I think Derek's right. Goff is pretty much road proof at this point. We'll see what road outdoor Goff is like in the winter, and I think Sky is right, about 50-50 split with Goff. If they're behind, they can throw the football 60-40, 70-30 to win a football game, and that means Gibbs is more valuable when they have to throw more.
So here, but before we move on, though, there's you just said the Lions running the ball. No, they got a 2-headed beast there. Are we worried about Amon-Ra St. Brown? We're not.
Nope.
No.
So why would we be worried about Goff? I don't get that logic.
It's first of all, the one thing I'm going to say, the great news about Goff is he only has one outdoor game the rest of the fantasy season. It's week 14 against Chicago, which could be a problem. The other issue is that in this scenario, Kyler Murray's on a bye that week. So you can't even plug in Kyler week 14. So you might run into a problem because if you're thinking I'm going to stash Kyler and start him when Goff doesn't play at home or in a dome, that 1 week that you would do that logically, you're not going to have Kyler. So
But
I think
it is
if
Chicago,
anything,
though.
it is Chicago, but it's outdoors in Chicago in whatever that week. I think it's December. So that could be, yes, you're right. It could be fine. Goff's a different player this year than he's been ever. So I got to admit that. But that's the only thing I pause on just a little bit. Maybe week 14. Maybe if you have Kyler, maybe if he's riding high, maybe you package Kyler with another player to go get, you're only going to need one guy to stream for week 14 probably. But anyway, Pollard, what he's worth. Go ahead.
Somebody in this quad box said before the season started that the 2023, the Goff and Amon-Ra were going to be the same as 22 Cousins and Jefferson. I don't remember who said it. It may have been me, but you're welcome.
Thanks, Matt. It was Matt. If anybody didn't know, it was Matt. Tony Pollard, listen, he's got Carolina this week. So if he can't do it against Carolina, then what are we talking about here? Like the Giants, I get it. It was a blowout. Everybody else got involved. Michael Gallup, Brandon Cooks, Jake, for everybody, Rico Dowdle. The only person that didn't get his was Tony Pollard. Now, that seems kind of fluky. I think this week against Carolina, it could easily go Tony Pollard's way. He could easily get the point. So my personal preference would be to play him this week as an RB2 and then try to trade him off his high week. Because after that, I have no interest in playing Tony Pollard.
What other player in fantasy football have we given an 11-week pass to? The guys had one game this year.
But okay, so let's talk about trade value then. Like, what's a realistic player? Christian Kirk? Would you take Christian Kirk for Tony Pollard right now?
If I roster Pollard,
I'd rather have Kirk.
Am I the owner of Tony Pollard?
Yes.
Yes,
then
you're the
I'm
owner.
absolutely taking Christian Kirk.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Kirk, that's like low end wide receiver 2 value that we would take for him. So guys like Marquise Brown, Tank Dell.
Yes.
No. Okay. Yes to Dell, Collins, Terry McLaurin.
What about Ramondre? If Pollard has value, can we get Ramondre for Pollard?
But wouldn't you rather just wait a week? Like if you might as well see what Pollard does against Carolina, and then trade him because Stevenson's on a bye, right? Unless you don't need Pollard.
I think Tony Dorsett had 4 carries last week and put up better stats than Tony Pollard did.
Well, so Tony Pollard has missed 2 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. He literally should have scored a touchdown in both. I know we don't count almost touchdowns. I get it. But Dallas's offense, they just needed a shellacking by some team a few weeks ago. Once they got their ass kicked, they finally sobered up, and now they're playing very good football, and that's awesome. It hasn't come Tony Pollard's way in points because he's not scoring. Everyone else is scoring. CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott had rushing touchdowns against the Giants. So
Rico too.
Tony Pollard should have scored a touchdown 2 weeks ago, and he should have scored last week. If he scores those, we're not as worried about it. Carolina's a plus matchup. We have to, I think, ride that. So if you're looking to trade him now and you're frustrated, I get it. If you need a win, maybe look for some guaranteed points. But I have Tony Pollard in the league. I'm going to wait it out one more week to see what happens. Go pick up Rico just so you have the insurance policy. But hard to ditch a guy that's getting 15 to plus touches. And by the way, we said this at the top of the broadcast, but you have a week where literally 4 of the best running backs in fantasy are out on a bye week. So that just diminishes the position no matter what. And you need guys that are, playing the opportunities there. Yes, Bob.
So he's second in the NFL in carries inside the 5 this season with 13. He's only got 2 touchdowns on those. The league average conversion rate on those is 40%. So maybe he's not a good goal line back. Maybe that's the case. This guy's brought up, he's gotten penalties called back on touchdowns. But, he theoretically, just on those touches, that high-value touches alone, should have 3 more touchdowns, roughly. Maybe even 4, because it's about a 40% conversion rate. So it's like that can easily flip at some point. Now, I'm not saying Tony Pollard's a trade for, but he is playing Carolina this week. And Sky brought up a good point. Got a lot of good running backs on bye. If you could get value for him, sure. Like if you guys are saying Kirk, great, go get Kirk. That's fine. But the question is, what's his trade value? So if you have Pollard, like what do you Ramondre Stevenson, Sky, that's a good one. Would you take Ramondre Stevenson or Tony Pollard rest of season?
Tony Pollard. I don't want the Patriots offense. I don't care.
Matt?
Last week I offered Ramondre and George Pickens, and I offered Ramondre and Zay Flowers for Pollard. Both were rejected.
Yeah, it's
the
offense. It's the offense and the opportunity. Like he has more value than he's giving you. I promise.
But the Giants game put a lot of everybody's now pissed. Like everybody kind of gave him a pass. Tough schedule, BS, and now he's got the Giants. The Giants are reeling. He's going to put – and then everybody sees they drop 50 points on the Giants, and he gets no fantasy points. That's a tough pill as well. So I think if you made those same offers this week – I don't even think, Matt, you'd make those offers this week.
Nope.
Exactly. So, you're not even going to make the same offers because that's how far he dipped. So his value is much different now.
Well,
but anyway, go ahead.
Well, maybe I would trade Ramondre and Pickens this week for Pollard. Because I have to win. Ramondre's off, Pickens is trash. So maybe I make that offer.
If you're in a win now moment here, yes. You could probably get him for the Panthers game. And then if he goes off, you can flip him again.
Yeah, and that's Derek, and we have to win out to compete. So we'll talk offline, but that's a deal I would make.
Okay.
I don't know that the Pollard owner will, right? They've already held him for 10 or 11 weeks. They're thinking at this point it's already in the finance world we call it a sunk cost. Bob, look that up when we're off the air.
You got it.
Sunk cost. I'm going to take Kyler Murray there, and I'm holding Pollard. Peter wants to know, is Gabe Davis basically worth, a bench spot? We know that the boomer bust. Josh Allen struggling. Stephon Diggs might just retire. There's a lot going on in Buffalo. Are we holding or dropping Gabe Davis quickly around the horn, Derek?
Dropping. Peter hits it right on the head. 3 games over 20, 5 games under 10 in a PPR. I mean, that's the only league that matters. So yes, that's the whole reason I never draft Gabe Davis. I'm out.
Matt with the quad thumbs up there to Derek.
Yeah, I'm pretty much out as well. If you can get a Rashee Rice, Elijah Moore, maybe even deal him and a package for a guy like Ridley, who's been underperforming as well.
Tony Pollard.
Trevor Lawrence can't be this bad all the rest of the year, can he? But maybe he can.
No.
But yeah, I'm not a fan of Gabe Davis, right? Derek, who always drafts Gabe Davis in our League One, Damon, that'll go to show you something. We know Damon's
come on, Damon.
We can talk about him.
We're not following Damon's lead. I can tell you that right now.
No.
Bob, are you stashing or getting rid of Gabe Davis?
Yeah, it's all relative to price, right? If you can get an offer for him, I mean, guys like Christian Kirk, I just don't think. I think he's a wide receiver 3 in the certain matchups. That's all. You didn't draft Gabe Davis in the first 5 rounds, so he wasn't a starter heading into the season, right? He was probably more of a bench player when you drafted him. So I personally think that if he's not an every week starter anyway, he's the perfect guy to have on your roster as a boom bust option. Would you drop him for a handcuff? Would you guys, anybody drop him for a handcuff right now? So you drop Gabe Davis for Elijah Mitchell if you have CMC.
Yep. I'm a big handcuff guy though. That's my deal. I mean, I have 4 handcuffs that I'm not going to play that are taking up dust on my rosters in every league. I do it every year, and it always pans out one way or another. And my thing is, if one of those guys pans out, you can drop the rest of them or whatever because you got your guy. But that's the dude that's going to win your league. It happens every single year. This time of year, go start stashing those guys. Evan, start 2. D-Top.
I'll be right back.
Warren, Derek.
Ridley and Warren for me. With Ridley outside wide receivers, that's how you beat the Titans. And we just talked about Warren. I mean, he's for real. So, yeah, Ridley and Warren for me.
Why don't you go first, Sky? I'm kind of thinking this one over here.
Same. Easy for me.
Yeah, D-Hop's got the number one matchup on the week, though, man. I'm going to go
And
D-Hop.
Ridley's been horrendous. He just has.
I know.
And
It's been so bad.
a bit hurt, whatever. I expected a bigger game. I called. He was my fake start of the week last week against the Niners. It was Christian Kirk. But Zay Jones is done. We're not going to talk about it, but he's involved in some domestic dispute. He probably won't play the rest of this year. So he's out indefinitely. And I still believe in this offense. The Niners are the Niners, man. They have Chase Young now. Guys are getting healthy. They're dominant. I like this offense in general, though. I'm going to stick with Ridley, and I want to see more consistency from Will Levis.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with.
We're not
Ridley
seeing that. We're seeing a rookie. We're seeing the rookie. Learning how to play when the defense are actually scheming against them. So that just drops D-Hop's value to me.
The other thing is here, they're playing Cleveland this week, the Steelers. So you're not hesitant to start Jalen Warren in a timeshare against Cleveland?
Well, Baltimore didn't have a problem with that.
No, they ran extremely well. They didn't pass well. And the Steelers, Mike Tomlin, man, I say this all the time. He is easily the coach of the year always. They should just give him a silver medal every year they don't choose him for the actual coach of the year. What he's had to deal with his last 5 years is unbelievable. But
yeah,
they've come out, they're a different team.
Yeah, running backs, if you just pound the middle of the Cleveland D line, you're not going anywhere. But if you get an athletic or dynamic running back, someone like Warren, and you can get him out into space, just like we saw last week with Keaton there in Baltimore. I mean, there's rushing yards available, or even swing passes. So I'm not really that worried about Warren. He's not going to blow up by any means, but I'm not sitting Warren or shying away from him just because of the matchup. I think for a player like him, now Najee, that would be different. I wouldn't play Najee, but with Warren, I'm not really too worried about him.
Okay, so look at the stats from last week, right? So 14 carries for 58 yards. That's what the Ravens had. Okay, 2 touchdowns though, which is nice. I think it's going to be ugly. Give me the receivers. Why not?
Matt, real quick, start 2. D-Hop, Ridley, and Warren.
Ridley and Warren.
Mute. Ridley and Warren. Got it. Freddie, would you trade Brees and Tyreek for A.J. Brown and Kamara? I'm worried about Tyreek's playoff matchups, and A.J. Brown has good matchups. Bob, we're going to start with you.
Brees Hall and Tyreek for A.J. Brown and Kamara. Yeah, I would take A.J. Brown and Kamara.
Matt, thumbs up.
Doesn't that seem like kind of a close,
yeah,
probably going to win that 1 week and you might lose it the next week type trade?
No.
You think Kamara? Okay.
A.J. Brown.
No, I'm with
A.J.
you,
Brown.
Murray. I think this is a little bit shuffling the deck chairs. I do like the Brown Kamara side a little bit more, but it's not tremendous.
I firmly disagree, and I'm very confident in the Brown and Kamara side. Brown and Tyreek are a wash to me. I know it sounds insane. Tyreek's Tyreek. A.J. Brown is too, though. He's been unbelievable for the last 2 months, period. Eagles are coming off of a bye. They have a very difficult schedule, but so do the Dolphins. It's a wash. Either one of those guys could be the wide receiver 1 overall in a week. They're going to get their targets, score touchdowns, whatever. Kamara to Brees Hall is not comparable. I know Kamara kind of, let us down a little bit this week. Brees Hall, I just mentioned, is literally one of the least efficient running backs right now in fantasy football. The Raiders are a hyped defense. I get it, whatever. They're not a great defense, and they just embarrassed the Jets on both sides of the ball and running the ball. Dalvin Cook is getting some more work. Zach Wilson is not taking them up and down the field. The Saints are moving the ball, even with Jameis. I like that a lot. So Kamara, for me, easily over the other side there. Mostert or Rachaad White rest of season, Matt?
First of all, this is peak Bryce questioning.
Count it.
Thank you. I think rest of season it's Rachaad White in PPR. We don't know if it's PPR. We only play 1 league, I think most of us, and that's PPR. So we'll go with that. I want it to be Mostert because that's where I have my money invested, but I think it's Rachaad White.
Yeah, Rachaad White for me, even if it's not PPR, I've graduated beyond just PPR for Rachaad White. 20 carries the last 2 games, pair of touchdowns on the ground, plus all his receiving. So, and we've got Achane coming back for the Dolphins, which is going to cut into Mostert. So, yeah, Rachaad White for me.
So here's the Bucks. It's Rachaad White for me. It's not. He's got one of the best rest of season schedules after the 49ers, right? He's got the Colts, Panthers, Falcons, Packers, Jags are tough. Saints have been bad this year, and then Panthers again. So I love the schedule. I think it's going to be awesome. The Jags are a tough run defense, but they're very bad against pass catching running backs. So that could be a wash for him too. So I love Rachaad White.
Rachaad White for me as well. Mateo, good evening, checking in here. I'm looking through the chat thread, everybody. We're an hour into the show. We're happy to stick around for you. I have noticed a ton of new names, and not just new names, but people who are coming in weekly consistently with us on Sunday mornings who have now flocked over the Tuesday evening show. First of all, I just want to give some gratitude to everybody that continues to follow us and tunes in now, not only for Sunday mornings, but for Tuesday evenings. And we really appreciate that. We're continuing the quad box here. But it would mean the world to us. If you're not subscribed already to the YouTube channel, please hit the button. It maybe not mean that much to you, but for us, it really does help us get a gauge on how our content is producing. Also, again, you can represent on the podcast side as well. All these episodes during the week are duplicated on the podcast for those of you on the road. So it's a Razzball Fantasy Football podcast as well. You can listen to anywhere you listen to your podcast. And again, those of you on tonight and haven't been on Sundays, we do a 2-hour start-sit show, pretty much like this episode here, every single Tuesday or Sunday morning before kickoff. And you can hit us with a super chat feature if you'd like to just contribute a couple bucks to the show. If you need to get going, I have a couple notes and you're like, hey, guys, can't stick around, quick question. We'll get right to your question. You just drop us $1, $2, $20, whatever is worth it to you for our time and energy here. We would appreciate it. And you can go ahead and do that. And we'll bring your question right to the front of the queue there if you so much oblige. So appreciate everybody tuning in. Just want a quick shout out here that we are about an hour in. We'll probably stick around for another maybe 30 minutes or so. So we have a lot of questions to get to. If you have any more, please drop them into the comments and we will get to them as quickly as possible. And reminder that all of us do an article every single week that drops for free on football.razzball.com. We all have different articles that we drop, things to know, waiver article, trade target, slot versus wide. Those are all going to be live via the website. So if you have questions like this, make sure to go check it out. Matt Stiles has an episode or a article ready right now that might answer some of these questions for you right off the bat for waivers. My trade article drops tomorrow. We got slot versus wide coming up as well. And then, of course, we have the 5 things to know every single week there to get you ready for your final lineup decisions. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Let's get back to the queue here. Mateo's checking in. Getting tired of Lamar. I hear you, man. Mateo, I've got him in a few leagues. And, again, playing incredibly well, not scoring fantasy points. Should we trade Evan Ingram and Tua for Lamar? We also have Ferguson. So would you rather have Lamar and Ferguson or Ingram and Tua? Matt?
I think I'd rather have Lamar and Ferguson.
Derek?
So I read this as trading Lamar and Ingram for Tua, but I would prefer.
Yeah, okay, maybe.
I would prefer Tua and Ferguson.
Bob?
So they got the Bengals on Thursday night, the Ravens. Then they got the Chargers, the Rams, the Jags, the 49ers, the Dolphins to finish the fantasy season. It's like, I when I look at the schedule, it's like, okay, the Chargers game could be fun. We just saw what Goff did against them. Rams, I think they're kind of a mediocre defense. They're okay, nothing crazy, but I'm not scared by that at home in that game. Then they have the Jags, who just got lit up by Brock Purdy. And they got the 49ers, tough matchup. But the 49ers game could be a game where they're getting a bunch of points and then Lamar's getting garbage time. And then it's the Dolphins, which I'm actually curious to see how Miami looks after the bye. But I don't know if I'm jumping shit. I guess Ingram to Ferguson's not enough a drop-off to get security for Tua. So I guess I'm fine with it. But Ingram's been very good this year. Very good. But Ferguson seems like an okay streamer tight end. I mean, he's better than Tony Pollard, right? So I guess for for the mental security, just in case Lamar doesn't turn it around, getting Tua is fine with me. If I'm okay with starting Ferguson the rest of the year, so I would take the Tua.
Yep, but then you're swapping out, Tua and Lamar based on matchups. Another Tua question here. Jacob checking in. I have Tua and Kyler in a 1 QB league. I got offered Jerome Ford for Kyler. Would you do this trade? Current running back situation: Mixon, Javonte, Henderson, and Gibson is a PPR league. Who would you rather have rest of season? Matt, we'll start with you here.
I think you need to make this trade. I'm good with Mixon and Javonte as my 2 starters, and I'm good with Henderson for now until Williams is back. And Gibson has improved the last, 4 or 5 weeks. He's been getting better. So I like Ford. I don't know that you want to risk Tua getting injured, and then you got to go to the waiver wire for whatever's left at quarterback. So I don't know that you need to make the deal, but I won't fight you if you decide to do it.
Derek.
I don't mind trading Kyler, but I want more than Ford. That's my stick up here. So I would not make the deal Ford for Kyler. I would counter, maybe try to get something more. And then I would pull the trigger, but otherwise I would just hold on to Kyler for now.
Yeah, assuming this is like a 2 running back league, right? So if it's 2 start 2 and a flex, and you have wide receiver depth for your flex spot, you can start mixing in Javonte. You don't need Ford here. But Tua, I mean, it's going to be hard to imagine we're going to be sitting Tua confidence. Like, I guess let me just take a look. Sky, give your take. I'm going to look at the Dolphins' schedule because I think that's going to be important here. Because is there going to be a week where you're going to want to sit him? He's got, the Jets could be tough. They got the Raiders, Jets, Commanders not sitting him, Titans not sitting him, Jets twice though. Then he's got the Cowboys, which I don't think anybody's going to sit him at home, and then they got the Ravens. So how do we feel with Tua against the Jets? Is he a sit? Would you pivot to Kyler in those weeks?
No. Historically, the Jets and Dolphins, kind of like the Bills and the Jets, they throw it down. So I'm not really all that worried about Tua against the Jets, to be honest with you.
So that it's like then we're not going to.
I think they're going to have a better opportunity.
So it's like we're never going to sit Tua, right? So it's really just the question: can you shop Kyler to get a better player, right? And so I guess maybe I think Ford had 17 carries for 100 yards against the Ravens this week. Just didn't find the end zone. So I think I actually like Ford rest of season. I think I lean to take the trade. Listen, go ahead and shop Kyler for some better. What's a better option than Ford that you would be targeting, Derek?
Pollard.
Just throw out a couple names. You rather have Pollard than Ford?
Rachaad White. I'd rather have Rachaad White in a PPR than Ford. Josh Jacobs.
I think that'd be
Josh Jacobs right now. I would rather have him.
So I guess the question is, I guess for Jacob would be, what's the other league mates have? How many teams need a quarterback? What's the other running backs that this guy have specifically? Maybe you could try to farm out Kyler to. I don't know if you're going to get Jacobs.
Probably not.
And Rachaad White, but it's worth an ask. And if you can't get those guys, fine. Then I think Jerome Ford's good enough. I actually am okay with the trade.
Would you put Kyler and Henderson in a deal for Jacobs and a throw in?
Well, Henderson's not going to do it because he's going to lose his job in a week or two.
Kyron Williams is coming back.
Yeah, Kyron Williams coming back. I honestly, the only thing I can think of is if you could package like a Javonte and Kyler to get a better player. Like maybe Javonte and Kyler can get you Jacobs. Is that something we would do? Or a Rachaad White?
No, that's too much for me.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's worth an ask, but my advice really here is ask around, look for Jacobs, look for the Rachaad Whites, see if there's another guy you can get. But I personally, if you're getting all no's, then I'm okay making this deal. Scott, what do you think?
Agree. Yep. I'm okay too. Shop, I think Derek made a good point. I want more than Ford as well. Shop Kyler. You're probably not sitting Tua, but we've seen that he could turn into a pumpkin versus good teams. Hopefully coming out of a bye week, they have addressed some of that stuff. And hopefully, they'll switch it up a little bit. But, they got HN coming back. They got a bunch of running options. So they might just change up their scheme entirely, which may affect Tua there as well. So don't hate if you go either way, to be honest with you. Let's go here. We got a Flex Lord Chino. Hey guys, 5-5. Just sitting at the 6th seed in the 10-man league. Need to win this week. Should I trade Bijan for Swift? Trading Bijan, getting Swift. Also, I have Pacheco and Brees as my starting running backs. Matt.
I would trade Brees for Swift, but I'm not getting rid of Bijan Robinson. I know you guys busted
Same.
balls when I brought him up 2 weeks ago. I'm not trading him. There's very few players, maybe a handful, 5, 6, 7 players that I would trade for Bijan. No way am I making this trade.
Yeah, I agree. I would trade Pacheco or Brees before I would trade Bijan.
Bob.
Well, I believe the Falcons are on a bye this week, right?
Yep.
That's kind of the question, right? It's a must-win week. Bijan's on a bye. You trade for Swift. Swift's got Kansas City. Is potentially losing this week because you don't have Swift in your roster. But the other pivot to this question is that you could start Pacheco and Brees this week instead.
Yep.
Right. So, do we feel?
I would do that
in the
before.
Brees?
Yeah,
You
I
feel
would do
confident
that
in
before I dealt Bijan. I would start those two and hope for the best.
Now the other question
Same.
is, what is it possible to get? Let's think about this. Is there a player that you would trade Bijan for, potentially? Like, who's a Bijan trade target? If you, let's say you want to win this week, let's give him a better name. Like, what's a player you'd reach out for to try to get? Not better than Swift.
Running back only?
Sure. Or I would assume
Yeah.
running back only here. Yeah.
Well, just do running
the
back
name-
only because we don't know the situation.
Yeah.
The names would be Ramondre, Kamara. Those guys are kind of in that window, but they're on bye with him.
I wouldn't trade
so-
Stevenson.
Really, the name everybody's going to keep coming back to is Pollard. Maybe Derrick Henry, maybe Kenneth Walker. But if I roster Walker, I'm not dealing him. I might deal Henry for Bijan if I'm way out in front. But
Would
I don't know.
you trade Bijan for Montgomery?
no,
He's on bye too.
What about Mixon?
No, David Montgomery.
They're all on bye.
David Montgomery.
Yeah,
No,
no.
Lions
Detroit?
are on bye.
no, the
are-
Lions are playing.
Detroit's playing
Lions-
Chicago.
Yeah, Lions play the Bears at home.
So it's David Montgomery. That's a good one. David
Yeah,
Montgomery.
go
I would
get a
do
lion
it.
then.
I would get Detroit.
Saquon Barkley. We talked about him
No.
earlier.
I would not do that.
Hmm.
I'm telling you, it's horrible. Don't do that to yourself. Don't join in my misery.
The Giants fan is telling you not to trade for Saquon Barkley.
What about Joe Mixon?
Yes.
If
That's
I'm
just
out in
tough.
front, I would trade Mixon and deal with a week off of Bijan.
The issue
you're-
is, like, I get it. You just don't need to, though. You don't need to trade Bijan, and it's been tough, but he finally got work. And I think it's because the national media slaughtered, like, Aldridge Smith this week. That's just what happened. Not only fantasy, but, like, all the talk shows were, what is this guy doing? He should be fired, blah, blah, blah. He comes out. Bijan finally has a decent game. I don't want to get rid of that, and I like the Falcons' general offense there. And how much better is Swift going to be than whatever? So if you're playing Brees and Pacheco instead, it's probably going to be a wash, honestly. So I'd rather just keep Bijan, personally.
Would we all rather start Swift over Brees Hall this week?
Yes.
With all things being equal, yes, but that's not the decision.
Wait, it could be because he in theory.
But it
could be
would
awful.
be. It would be, but
I'm
like
not
if
sure
we're
that
thinking,
go ahead.
no, I don't think it would be. It is the decision, Bob, because you're trading and then you got to start a guy and get it. But then you're talking like, okay, say you win this week, then you're looking at future, and I'd rather have Bijan. If you do any moves or don't do any moves and you lose because it's fantasy and you don't know what's going on, you want Bijan for the comeback story because I'm not sure that Swift is that guy either. So
No.
I'd
I'm
rather
saying,
just
would you
take
trade Brees Hall instead? Like, because let's say, because the question was, so you could trade instead of it. He's asking, should we trade Bijan so I can get Swift to start? Well, don't even do that. Instead of, because Kansas City's got the Eagles, that's a tough matchup. The Jets have the Buffalo Bills, which is a tough matchup. So the question is, instead of the guy's asking for Bijan for Swift, why don't you offer him Brees Hall? See if he'll take Brees Hall. If the guy's trying to, I mean, I'm sure the guy's trying to buy Bijan on the buy. I'm sure that's what he's doing.
Yes.
Let's worth an ask.
yeah.
But I think our overall answer is that it doesn't make sense to get rid of Bijan. The long-term upside of him is too high. You might as well just start Pacheco and Brees Hall, but offer Brees Hall and see if you can get him for Swift.
Correct. Gerald,
All right.
what are your thoughts on Sammy Howell rest of season? I love him. I've been repping him for weeks. It was kind of a joke at first, and now he's just really good. So I'm all about Sam Howell. And multiple top 5 finishes in fantasy, great schedule. Don't look now, folks, but the Commanders throw the ball more than any team in the NFL. You heard me correctly. They throw the ball more than any team in the NFL. That's all Sam Howell, multiple options, not a great run game, but they've been good enough, and they're going to be playing from behind. So I like Sammy Howell a lot. Does anyone disagree?
I love it. They just gutted their defense because that's great for fantasy, baby.
That helps.
That's awesome.
Exactly. Hubbard ETN, we went to this one already. Oh, Andrew just chiming in without a question. Just a solid 8-2. That's all we get from Andrew. Thanks for chiming in, Andrew, making the rest of us feel bad. Appreciate you. The only way that feels better if you're thinking that all my advice this year has come from the Razzball team and I'm 8-2.
There you go.
Then I'll chop you some watermelon myself. But if this is like, oh, hey guys, I'm 8-2 on my own research, like, send me a job application, you can DM Bob. All right, moving on here, Daniel. What do we do with Jahan Dotson? Drop a dud with Curtis Samuel back in the mix. Ran the most routes. Washington spread the ball, blah, blah, blah. So Jahan Dotson, you just hang on to. I know he had the most routes run. He had the most targets. He's doing his work. But, again, we like Sam Howell a lot. I think you just got to hold him unless you have a better option. Like Noah Brown, for example, if you need to switch, I drop Jahan Dotson for. I'm not sure that I would look at many other options there just because I do like this offense overall there. Again, any other disagreements on that one?
He's a matchup-dependent wide receiver 3.
Yep.
There you go. Mikey, what's up, Mikey? Would you guys rather keep Jake Elliott or stream kickers? Bob.
Stream. I honestly, I got to tell you, I would love to look at how my streamer kickers have done this season versus like the top 5 consensus kickers because we've done pretty good. So I personally would go streamers because I've noticed that like even Tyler Bass last night, who's like a consistent top 5 kicker, got like 1 point. So it's definitely, I think outside of like Justin Tucker, maybe Harrison Butker, I'm actually okay. I stream, and I think we've done pretty good. I think if you could get yourself Jason Myers, go for it. I'm in.
Love it. Jackson Taylor checking in here. We got a 12-man PPR, large roster. Should I send Hurts, Moore, and Chandler for Tyreek? Hurts, Moore, and Chandler for Tyreek. Also, if it was Moore and and Hurts for Tyreek, Stafford, blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot of teams here. There's a lot going on in this one. Basically, are we looking to acquire Tyreek for this team that would basically add Tyreek to CMC, Puka, Kelsey? That adds a lot of firepower to you, and you're dropping a handful of the guys. I guess my question would just be the other quarterback.
Yeah.
Matt?
Yeah, I don't understand the question.
It's a lot. It's a lot going on here.
Yeah, that's all I'm thinking too. Who would the other
should
quarterback be? I'm not seeing.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing
Should
who
I
the
send
quarterback would
Hurts,
be if you could trade
Eli,
Hurts, but I would love to
or-
add Tyreek.
Yeah, But again, who's going to fill in for Hurts? Because the other two.
Well, I think it's
I don't
Stafford.
care about the other two.
Yeah.
In the second
At the
deal.
bottom, you see Stafford. Maybe but like you're trading an extra person, so maybe he's going to the waiver wire. So it'd be like Stafford off the waiver wire. Maybe it's Sam Howell, somebody like that. Jalen Hurts obviously is a huge one to lose, but you're getting Tyreek. I personally would just stay put, to be honest.
Well, let's think about it this way. Let's try to simplify it a little bit. Hurts is one of the difference-making quarterbacks, and let's say Stafford is a streamer. He's basically a matchup-dependent, low-end QB1. So you're basically going to probably have to stream quarterback because you're not going to rely on Stafford every single week. So the question is, you're probably losing 6 to 8 points from Hurts going all the way down to a streamer quarterback every week. Now, if you add Tyreek, you're going to be his wide receivers are we're assuming that's DJ Moore and Puka Nacua, right? So we got let's say those are your 3 receivers. Do you think those guys any given week could be wide receiver 2s consistently? So do we think you're going to get enough points from Tyreek to subsidize the points you're losing from Hurts to Stafford or any streamer quarterback?
Yes.
I think it's a wash. I think it's close to a wash.
No, I'd rather have the upside of Tyreek and a streaming quarterback like Stafford, for instance. I would rather have that than DJ Moore and Chandler on the bench because Chandler's not cracking this lineup. So, yeah, no, I would make the deal. I think there's upside.
Making the second half of that deal. I'm not giving up Achane and Hurts in a deal.
Correct. I'm not doing that either.
So, Scott, what do you take? You
Same.
taking Hurts,
Same.
and you're going to take the other side. Okay. All right.
Yep. All right. And just a time check for everybody here. We have been on for about an hour and a half. We're really excited to have everybody's participation. This has been absolutely amazing. All these trade questions, all this waiver ad is amazing. Go check out Matt's article live right now on football.razzball.com for free. Tons of waiver ads to go check in for those tonight. Check to see if your league has a trade deadline this evening as well. I'll have my trade article coming out tomorrow also. And we might have to cut off before we'll get through all these questions here, but we're going to have to go pretty quickly here. But if you have any additional questions, make sure you DM us and we will get into every them. Here, I'll take him off real quick. So you can hit me up at Sky Guasco. Make sure you screenshot or save all these handles and follow us on Twitter if you haven't already. We get back to every single tweet coming through. So make sure to hit us up. Derek_Favret, Bobby Lamarco, Styles08, and myself, Sky Guasco. We can tune into all these and we will get through as many questions as we possibly can. Seth is diving in 7-3. Love to see that. But my running backs are not cutting the mustard to win a championship. Starters are Lamar, Bijan, Madison, DJ Moores, Laporta, and Hunt. Got some good people like Downs, Fergie, Russ on the bench. Who should we sell and target? So just give me one name to maybe get rid of on this and maybe one add back. We'll try to move quickly through the rest of these questions. Matt, we'll start with you.
I'm going to drop Kareem Hunt for Chandler. Chandler handcuffs Madison. Madison maybe goes to the IR this week if he's listed as out, and then you go get a streaming option from the wire.
Okay. Derek?
I would like to add Connor to this roster. I think Connor would be a good fit here. Maybe package a 2-for-1 to get Connor, maybe Hunt and DJ Moore, maybe, or maybe Madison in DJ Moore. And of course, Madison probably going to miss the game. So I would look for someone like a Connor or, again, Rashad White's a favorite to buy right now. So I would try to add a running back like that and try to do a 2-for-1.
I think the one thing that stands out to me is the tight end. Like, how do we feel about Jake Ferguson as a rest of season starter? Would you feel comfortable packaging Zay Flowers and Laporta to go get a DK Metcalf or a Devontae Adams or Chris Olave?
I think those guys are worth more. I mean, you're not playing Ferguson over Laporta ever, right? So Laporta I keep because he's a top 3 tight end. Ferguson on a great game is maybe top 5. That's a difference making at the position. I don't like that. So, no, I would stay put. I'm not moving Laporta unless you can go way up the chain. But guys like Adams, DK, for me personally, those are not big enough values to move a difference making tight end like Laporta. And I don't think Zay Flowers is going to move the needle, unfortunately.
You don't think you can get – so what do you think you could get for Zay Flowers and Laporta? What would be like a wide receiver target?
You just mentioned Cooper Kupp. That'd be a great one if you could pull that off. You better hurry up, though.
Maybe
Puka,
Mike Evans?
Not, sure, Brandon Ayuk. Yeah, Mike Evans just had a massive game. I doubt that'll happen. Aaron Jones, maybe it's a cheap, nobody is interested right now, running back that might just have better work. Again, Bijan's off, so this running back core is devastated. Like, you're in a deep one right now. Maybe Laporta and Zay for Gibbs or Monty this week because you need to make a change ASAP. We've talked a lot about Rashad White as well, so that might be another option there too.
And don't forget Khalil Herbert is probably on your waiver wire with the IR designation, slated to come back for Chicago this week.
I would prioritize Ty Chandler too. It could be a great plug and play, especially with Bijan.
And Sky, before we bounce off of this question, is that girl Poison Belle Seth DeVoe?
Oh my God, Belle Seth DeVoe. I mean, it's DeVore. It's DeVore. It's probably a stretch. We're going to answer. So the East Coast guy on the thread did recommend that we keep going. So I'm into doing that because I'm on the West Coast and it's only dinner time for me. So we're going to keep going to smash out some of these questions. If guys have to drop off, they'll do that. So we're going to get through them. But Before we go any further, Bob, I'm going to give you
Yes.
a
Yes.
7-minute count. Hold on. 7-minute countdown, Bob. Stretch.
I don't need 7
Go
minutes.
go use the potty if you need to. Maybe get some water. If you need a shotgun a beer after you're like done, not a sponsor, with your pair, feel free to do that. But I'm going to give you 7 minutes. I'm going to give the watchers 7 minutes to prepare. Bob's going to try a pair for the first time ever, folks. I guess apparently, get it? In 7 minutes. So stay tuned for that. We're going to answer a couple more questions here. We're going to get through the rest of these. It's been an absolutely fabulous episode, and we appreciate everyone tuning in. And make sure you follow us and subscribe. It would mean the world to us. And check us out on Sunday morning as well, 2 hours prior to the kickoff. Bob, final thoughts before you test the pair.
We're not going to stop for it. What I'm going to do is every take from now on, I'm going to take a bite of the pear, give you analysis, and then the take on the question for the next 4. Okay? Let's get it done.
Oh wow! Okay, so you'll be
Get it done.
chewing on the mic, so that should eliminate all of our viewers.
People are going to
So I
love
appreciate
that. We got to get out of here.
What
right?
is the ASMR, right? That's like the big thing, ASMR. So now you come to Razzball for the ASMR. We got popcorn in the bottom half. We got pears coming up top. We got Derek somehow keeping the show on the rails, and I'm going to eat an apple here in a second as well. Jackie chiming in here. Are we trading Brees and Achan for Eckler in a 10-team PPR league? Matt, we're going to go to you first with the seedless green grapes. Eckler or Achan and Brees?
There's no way that's 10-point PPR. He must have hit the 0 instead of the P.
10-team.
10-team PPR.
Oh,
Jesus, it's the grapes.
I'm grape hammered right now. I hate that trade. I think Achan can win your league for you.
Great.
I'm going to counter that. I like it because in a 10-team league, there's got to be low-end wide receiver ones on the waiver wire in a 10-team league. So
all right, I'll
take Eckler and a waiver wire fill for Brees and Achan. Yes, I will take that. Yep,
I was stuck on 10-point PPR, 10-person league. I get it. I'm with Derek.
Even in a 10-point PPR, you got to lean Eckler there. Got to lean Eckler, getting you 98 points a week in a 10-team point. Go ahead, Bob.
I actually don't. I think Achan is one of the guys that I feel like is one of the on par players. Like we saw him just absolutely erupt, and he, in my opinion, he could be a CMC Eckler type player. So in general, I like the thought process here, but I actually think that Achan could be even better than Eckler rest of season. So I actually would just keep Brees too.
Bob.
Okay, I'm gonna lean Eckler. I think
Here we go.
Eckler's a winner.
There he goes.
Give it a second. Give it a second. I don't want to hear anything for.
It's a D'Anjou.
No, it isn't.
D'Anjou pair.
Oh, okay. I think you're gonna.
Oh, so you went
take you off the stream.
I got 4 different kinds of pairs.
Quad box of pairs.
Okay, not bad. I gotta say, on a scale of 1 to 10, 6.7. Not bad.
Yep. Hey, one bite. Everybody knows the rules.
Yep. All right, let's get it done.
Nice job, Bob. Well done. I'm proud of you. B, it's back. This is pertaining to the last question. We're like 3 hours ago we answered this question, but we're going to go right back to it here. Is there a wide receiver or running back you would trade straight up for Addison or Saquon Barkley, Derek?
For Addison and Saquon Barkley, yes, Josh Jacobs. I would take Josh Jacobs right now in the new Raider offense for Addison and Saquon.
Raider. Okay, Matt.
Yeah, I'm good with what Derek said. I'm about done. Yep, I'm at my window.
But I guess I think that's doable, right? We all agree. If you're the Jacobs owner and you need like a flex, we got to remember Justin Jefferson's coming back, and I know we like Josh Dobbs. He's a fun player, but I mean, if he throws another ball to T.J. Hawkinson, I think he's going to break in half because he was getting crushed in that game. So I just don't know how good Addison's going to be rest of the season. So realistically, I don't like Barkley. I don't think a lot of people like Barkley. I would say probably like Joe Mixon I'd feel more comfortable with security-wise, maybe Maybe even like a level up Breece Hall, Derrick Henry types. What I would say you can get for that package.
Try for Devontae Adams maybe, or Deebo Samuel as well. Okay, Buddy, 76th Street. Should we trade Tank Dell and Mostert for Cup, Matt?
Yes, and do it as fast as you can.
Absolutely agree.
Smash the accept.
Yeah, definitely.
So
love it.
Yes,
all right, moving on.
This is a boss. This is a Bosick pair.
Yeah, sorry, Bob.
It
was disrespectful. I apologize.
Pair. It's got a little bit of a brownish taint to it.
Looks a little bit like a turd.
Brownish.
From that
I don't like this one.
Yeah, was that a brownish? Brownish taint? I'm not sure that was the right word.
That was definitely the wrong word. I'm gonna go 4.6.
Okay. We're all adults here.
So I will tell you this, Bob. If you get a soft one, it's going to be terrible.
If these get worse, I might have a brownish taint.
And you told me to stay away from the questionable fruit jokes.
Yeah. Well, it's an hour. I wasn't expecting us to be an hour and a half in. So at this point, go loose. We're losing it.
Bob, we're 4 hours into a show here. We're trying to keep it together. Let's get this in.
I know. I got you.
Ma, checking in for the again. So many brand new names, folks. So many brand new names. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you download the podcast and hit us up on the tweets as well. All right, I have Mahomes and Kelsey stack. Good start. I also have Stroud on my bench. Should I stick with the stack or go with Stroud? Stroud has been better than Mahomes, but the Mahomes and Kelsey stack is nice. Matt, we'll start with you.
I think you go where your money is and you play Mahomes and Kelsey. This feels like the time of year when Mahomes starts to become Mahomes again and starts to throw the ball a little bit more. So I think Isaiah Pacheco's season is near over, and I think it's going to be Mahomes throwing the ball. Humble brag, he is my Razzball starting quarterback. I have to move Purdy to the bench because this is week 1 of actually setting your lineups in Razzball. So Mahomes is going to get the nod over Purdy for me.
Yeah, definitely Purdy over Mahomes. Go ahead, Derek.
Yeah, no, I was going to say what Matt said. Yeah, I can say that for once here tonight. But
that's nice.
Let's remember that, Stroud is still a rookie quarterback. And we're talking Mahomes. I mean, if we were talking, maybe – I don't know, even Tua. Okay, that might be a discussion, but or Herbert, that would be a discussion, but not Mahomes.
Whoa, easy.
Sorry.
Easy on the duck slander. Bob?
Listen, there's something that we forget every year. It's death taxes. Andy Reid off a bye. Andy Reid off a bye is elite. He never loses. He never misses. It's going to be an awesome game against Philly. That's going to be an awesome game around. I want every cent
Monday Night Football.
That game. It's going to be sweet. The other thing is I like. Do you think how you say his name is Trevor Meow, or is it Mao, or is it Meow?
It's Trevor Ma. It's Ma.
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 I like Mao, but that's okay. Trevor, come back. Don't leave us. I'm going to try another pair. Oh man, it's a red pair. It's got a little bit more of an apple taste to it. Have you guys tried all these type of pears?
Yeah, we all have.
Years ago.
Nice. This one was okay.
I'm
sweeter.
I'm just curious about the consistency. I think like a pear, more than maybe any other fruit. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Maybe a banana, some other fruit. The consistency of a pear really makes or breaks it. I got to say.
Yeah.
So if you're on the crunchy side, it's less sweet. Otherwise it's mealy. You got to be careful there. But I appreciate it. Quick vote, thumbs up, she'll be there. Thumbs down, she won't be there. Monday Night Football, Philadelphia, Kansas City, Taylor Swift in the house. Thumbs up or down?
Isn't she on tour?
She was in Argentina.
It doesn't matter, bro. It's prime time,
You're
dog.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
You're right. It's prime time.
She'll
it's love.
100% be there.
Let's do it. Get it there, Taylor. We love you.
She'll 100% be there. B, okay, Saquon and back to the Saquon and Addison for Javonte and Chris Godwin. Yes or no? This is the question we've answered 3 times. Matt? Yep. Derek?
I want the Javonte Godwin side.
Yep.
Yes, I agree. I agree with the guy with the peach pear is behind. He's a beach.
Quad box.
All right.
Love that. All right, we're getting here. We got Mixon and Warren this week. Mixon or Warren, Matt?
Who are we playing?
Mixon
Steelers
has
have
the
the
Ravens.
Cleveland.
Mixon has
It's
the
all
Ravens
division
and
games this week.
and
Division
Warren
games for
has the
that division.
Browns.
Yeah.
Mixon in Baltimore, Warren in Cleveland.
Well,
Let me mix it for me.
Cleveland has. Well, they've both given up 30 plus over the last couple of weeks. I think the more explosive player is Warren, but you're guaranteed more volume with Mixon, so I'd probably lean Mixon, but I want it to be Warren.
I'm a little nervous going with Mixon because it's Thursday night.
Short week, yeah.
He only had 11 rushing attempts last week, so he's, I'd say, relatively fresh. But going against the Ravens on the road Thursday night, I'd go Mixon. I think Mixon's the safer play. He's probably more volume there. I'd go Mixon.
And just so you know, I actually did Derek's pair. So I had the Bartlett pair. It's the last one. Not bad. Overall, I think I kind of like the red sweet one. Not bad.
Nice.
A little bit softer though. Maybe it was a little firmer. But anyway, I'm gonna go Joe Mixon. I'm firm on Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon.
That's what she said.
Bob, next assignment by just the end of the year. How about that? Asian pair. Find an Asian pair. Next level. Okay, this one's a lot. We don't usually do these. I'm in a good mood. We're 4 hours in, so I'm delusional anyway. Doesn't matter. And there's a Chargers logo. You sold me. Let's rock it. Rate my team. Gentlemen, we're just going to go like A through F. How we feeling? 14 team, half PPR. Herbert, looking good so far. Saquon Jacobs, not looking good anymore. Mixon, Foreman, Spears. Then we got Keenan, Flowers, Demario Douglas. We got our boy Downs, JSN, Kincaid, and Jonnu Smith. Let's go A through F. Matt, how you feeling? Remember, 14-teamer. So these rosters have to be a little deeper.
True.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get crazy. I'm gonna set the bar so you guys have to adjust. This is a B- 14 team league.
Yeah.
My grade's a B- as well. I think with one more receiver, it would be a B+. But yeah, I'm a B- as well.
I'm gonna go hard B. I think for a 14-team league, having 3 stable running backs is going to be good for him. I think that's good. That's really hard to find in a 14-team league. So it's a lot easier to stream a random wide receiver than it is running back. So I go hard B.
See, normally Bob goes hard D, but I guess he's going to go B this time.
I was firm on Mixon. So there you go.
Liam, remember this is a children's show. Let's keep it easy here. Liam. I'm going to go B+. Not only did you rig the system, you probably don't even have Herbert, but you want I get it. That's fair. You have Herbert and you have the Allen stack. Love that. They're dominant, absolutely. But you do have the 3 quality running backs, which is hard to do. And then you have Kincaid, who's, nice stack there at the tight end position. So we're going to give you between a B+ and a B-, solid B all the way around. Flex Lord Chino back. Really don't want to sell Bijan, but man, I need a running back to help me out. Brees and Pacheco starting to hurt. I get it. Dylan. All right, Dylan Fink. Fink. It's hard to do it without the hard I, but I don't think it's Fink. Like
That's Fink. Yeah.
You think so?
Laces out.
Because it's got the CK. All right.
Well, but it's Fink.
It is.
Laces
out.
That's what I'm saying. Laces
Fink.
out. Have an option to buy Kelsey and Bijan. We want to do that. It's my sister in a 2-family league. So 2 families looking to trade with sis. Here we go. Trying to beat out the other family. Can't be collusion, but one that works slightly better for me. All right. So you're basically asking us to take the fall for you, Dylan. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you advice. Then we're going to not tell you to do it because that's collusion. And then you can do whatever you want. Here we go. 5-5 on a 12-team PPR league. Lost a Rich.
Anthony Richardson.
Thank you. Anthony Richardson got Stroud, Pollard, Mixon, Jacob. You guys can read all those. At the tight end feels like a depth. So we need to swap. This is just like a marathon here, guys. Stick with me. So we need to swap out Andrews and Kelsey. If y'all like Kelsey better, obviously. Something to get Bijan. Main reason I want this is to juice up for the playoffs, Indy, Carolina, and Chicago. So we need to make a move, basically, that's going to help us in this general position. It looks like we can potentially get those guys, Kelsey and Bijan, or these running backs here, Pollard, Mixon, Cook, Hunt, Spears. Those are all backups, and McBride and Andrews. So there's a lot to unpack here. If nobody understood that, just go ahead and raise your hand. We'll send out an essay and cliff notes after this one. But Matt, if you seem ready, go for it.
I would deal any one of the running backs and Andrews to land Bijan and Kelsey.
I think if you need to avoid the collusion, trade Pollard, Andrews, and one of the receivers not named Diggs or Ayuk, and that would land Kelsey, Bijan without too much heartache.
Yeah, so it'd be Pollard, Andrews, Hollywood would probably be the most reasonable.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would make that deal.
But with if you were advising his sister, would you make that deal?
Well,
no, we wouldn't make that deal. But
does it matter?
It doesn't. It doesn't. I never support collusion. I think you should try to win on your own merits. I think that's how I feel. But listen, sometimes you just gotta family's blood. Like
When
it's like
family.
Fast and the Furious franchise, you know? He's Vin Diesel.
Well, here's what's hard about this. Shouts out to our boy Tyrese. Here's what's hard about this. It feels like collusion because it's family. But if it's a two-family league, then everyone's family. This is like basically Olive Garden.
You don't think they're doing that on the other side?
Exactly. So here's what's collusion. Okay, be careful about this, Dylan. Don't stack up a bunch of great players on your team and bury Sis. Not cool. Obvious collusion. We do not condone that. But if those players, even a Pollard, makes her team better also, and you take away the family piece, and it's a legitimately fair trade, then I'm okay with it. It can't be collusion because there's family all over the place in this one. You just got to be careful that you don't obviously stack your team and not hers, because the rest of the league's going to call you out, and then you're going to blame us, and that's a no-go.
Yep. And if you pull that, so he's 5-5, and if you pull that deal now before this week, you're trading Pollard, who's playing Carolina. We talked about that 3 hours ago.
He could blow up
for Bijan, who's on bye. So you can justify that you're not colluding when you're trading a player. You're trading for a player who's on bye, and you're 5-5.
But what's your sister's record? I want to know what the sister's record is. She 3-7 or is she 5-5? Like, if Sis is 5-5 too, maybe you got to do the sacrificing. Maybe you got to say, you got to do it for the fam. Maybe you got to give her the sweetheart deal. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Oh, maybe Dylan's the one colluding for Sis.
There you go.
Yeah, that's an angle. That's an angle we didn't consider. Is Jerry Jeudy droppable? He saw less snaps than Mims yesterday, and Sutton seemed to hog all the targets. That is correct. Sutton should have had a much bigger game too. Hell of a touchdown grab, but could have had a bigger game on a couple of drops there. Not sure if it's still the upside, blah, blah, blah. How about Noah Brown, maybe Cooks Downs? Would you rather have Jeudy or the bottom three names, Matt?
Derek, who was our favorite player not named Javonte last night?
Well, Jerry Jeudy, of course.
There you go, because he's trash. Yes, he's not droppable, but he's well on his way to being droppable. Right?
No, he's droppable to me. I'm taking one of those three at the bottom.
You ready for this? Over under current season statistics, Jerry Jeudy receptions over under 29. Over under 30. Now I gave it away.
I'm gonna say he's got 29-ish.
He does.
Nice.
Bob, take that money to Vegas, Bob. Spot 29.
Feels good. Feels good. I think the names at the bottom is key, right? Noah Brown, Cooks, Downs. Give me those guys. I mean, Russ has been better, but I mean, like Judy, you watch that game, he's not even in on some 2 receiver sets. And you're like, what is going on? It was brutal. Now, granted, listen, Russ does this weird thing, spins around, throws a pass up, and Sutton makes a crazy play. At the end of the game, he does something similar with Judy, but instead of it being a catch, it's a defensive pass interference. If he leads Jerry Judy there, and Jerry Judy catches that pass for a 50-yard touchdown, he finishes with 4 catches for 85 yards and a score, we're probably having a different conversation today. So, yes, I do think you should take the shot on Brown, Cooks, and Downs, but, man, I hate Jerry Judy.
Gerald, I saw a trade for Mixon and Jefferson. Who won?
Jefferson.
It's not. Although it's not as one-sided as you think, though.
Well, we'll see what happens with Dobbs, but Jefferson just in a vacuum would be much better. Y'all are champions, Daniel.
Amen.
We appreciate you. We're here for the people. Isaiah coming in, another new name, I believe. I could be wrong there. I have Aaron Jones. Sorry about that. Swift, Ford, James Conner. Do I start Conner or over Ford?
Yes, this week you do. This week you do.
Derek.
Yeah, I'm okay with starting Conner. Yeah.
How about this? Let's change this. Start 3 of those 4. Matt, we'll go back to you.
I sit Ford.
Derek.
Who the Packers have this week? The Chargers. Oof, I like that. Yeah, I would sit Ford.
And if you don't sit Ford, you sit Swift.
Oh,
No, not against the Chiefs.
Their defense is better than you think. Look at the analytics, nerds.
Bob?
Yeah, I think I'm going to sit Ford. Yeah. I'm a little concerned about Kyler Murray not targeting James Conner at all that game. Let's start throwing, because he scrambled a lot more than we expected. But, yeah, I'm awkwardly comfortable with Conner over him.
Okay. I'm going to stick with the 3 that you've got. I just want to see Connor do it. That's all. Lindorphins, always checking in at the 11th hour. Great to see you, bud. I know, first world problems, but if you had to trade either Tyreek or Jackson Bigba, who is that?
Donovan Jones Beebles?
I don't know.
Wait, why is this hard? It's
AJ
a
Brown.
3-hour show or
Is it supposed to be A.J. Brown?
Got to be AJ Brown.
Lindorphins, bro. Lindorphins. You're a seasoned veteran. We can't have audibles this late in the program. Come on. Check the play call. Give me a clean sheet there. My earpiece is buzzing out on
we're pretty punch drunk at this point.
AJ Brown, Tyreek Hill.
Let's go AJ Brown.
Which would you rather deal given a perceived them, blah, blah, blah. We talked about AJ Brown and Tyreek, I think at the beginning of the podcast with a different agenda. I basically just said they're a wash. Now we're going to actually compare them. Who would you rather have, AJ Brown, Tyreek Hill rest of the season, Matt?
I'm holding both of them. I'll go down with the ship. They're either going to win me a title or I wasn't meant to win the title. So unless he's got to deal one of those for a running back because he doesn't have running backs, I'm not even entertaining conversations for someone that comes sniffing around the old wide receiver shed for one of those guys. If you have both of them, you should be out in front of your league. The only wide receiver currently that is sniffing that production is CeeDee Lamb, and he gets no attention. 0.
Right. Who's the running backs you would trade for these guys? CMC, Eckler.
Oh, I mean, yeah, but you're not getting either one of those guys.
Devin Achane.
Yeah, but again, like he's coming back after an injury. I know we're all hyped, but like
ETN?
to get rid of one of those guys, ETN would be a guy. Kamara would be a guy. I know he's on bye. Bijan plus, a Lions guy, maybe plus. Dude, we're talking top of the food chain here. Like top of the food chain. And you can't just move these guys without that. So Jonathan Taylor, I know it's a bye. I get it. But first world problems, Lindorphins, you're probably, cruising with this squad. So maybe you can just eat a bye week or two and look to upgrade somewhere else.
Jonathan Taylor's an interesting name for one of those two.
Yeah,
Right. Zach
that's what I'm
Moss
saying.
is on the way out. Yeah, I'm still not doing it. Right. Like I said, I'm going down with the ship. Those two are going to take me to the promised land, or I was not meant to win my league.
Fair enough. Let's check back here.
I'm just going to take Brown over Tyreek.
Same. Got an update here. Sis is 3-7. But Dylan wants to have a legitimately fair side of the trade for her as well. Love to see that. Good sportsmanship. It's good. That's going to keep Thanksgiving a lot more clean, Dylan. Well done.
The holidays aren't coming up, Dylan. You got to watch.
Yeah, well done. Well played. Thinking Mixon, Cook, Andrews, some of those guys for Bijan. Really quickly, boys, which one would you rather have, Mixon, Cook, and Andrews for Bijan and Kelsey?
With what we saw with the rosters above, I'd rather have Kelsey and Bijan.
Mixon and Cook. Well, that's I wouldn't make that deal now. I mean, that would be hard to win this week if you're getting rid of both Mixon and Cook.
Because again, Bijan is out, Dylan. That's the big one. And you can't afford to
probably
eat it
pull Cook out and add Hollywood Brown in. That's the deal we agreed to. Mixon / Pollard, Andrews, Hollywood Brown for Kelsey and Bijan.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Agreed.
I like that as well. 4 weeks till the playoffs. Love to see that.
No sleep till Brooklyn, Dylan. No
That's
sleep
true.
Brooklyn.
No sleep. Here we go. It's almost tomorrow for Derek, so let's get this moving here. Waiver ad. Would you guys have Ty Chandler or Keaton Mitchell? Talked about Ty Chandler quite a bit, but not Keaton Mitchell. Matt, it's your waiver article. What do we think?
Ty Chandler.
Wow.
I'd rather have Ty Chandler this week, but I'd rather have Keaton Mitchell rest of the season.
Yep.
What Derek said.
Same. Yep, I agree as well. And I'm getting to the next one here. So we're going to go. Look at Dylan. Just subscribed and hit that like. Appreciate y'all.
Dylan needs to come back. Let us know if he made the trade, and then
Yeah.
he's got to keep us updated on the playoff hunt there. We need to be invited to Thanksgiving at Dylan's house.
Yes.
Yeah, and Dylan, this is one of I would say to please invite your family to come and see the show as well, right? Make this a family thing. But then there's that but you get the top advice. They don't necessarily follow us, maybe. So you want the edge. I get it. But if you're a family player, then maybe send them our way as well.
He could bring his side of the family. Just leave the other family out.
Not the in-laws. No in-laws.
Yeah.
No in-laws. Just we don't do we only do one plate per. Isaiah Williams checking in here. I've been hearing a lot about Charbonnet being like Tony Pollard. So Tony Pollard last year when he took over for Zeke, that's what I think is going to happen as well. I made that call in my trade article 3 weeks ago. It hasn't happened yet, but I think it could. Charbonnet, I think, takes over Ken Walker by the end of the year. Guys, quick thoughts on Charbonnet.
I think unless Ken Walker gets hurt, he's the alpha in Seattle. Charbonnet will be third down. He'll get some love at the end of games, but I don't see Kenneth Walker giving up the stick this year.
Yeah, what Matt said.
I agree, and if I have Kenneth Walker, I'm trying my best to get Charbonnet on my bench. I just want that handcuff is a must-have handcuff.
What Bobby said.
Fair enough. Let's go to some streaming DSTs. Of course, we never know who's available on your waivers, but we can go with the Dolphins versus the Raiders. I like that a lot. Maybe Pittsburgh still available at Cleveland. We got the Jets and Buffalo, who's struggling right now. Seahawks versus the Rams with Matt Stafford coming back. I like the Chargers at Green Bay and also Houston and Arizona. Those are some of the streaming options there potentially. Couple more for you guys. We're going to get out of here. Adrian jumping in here. It looks like AP. It's probably all day, I would imagine it is. Shout out to our Oklahoma Sooner. Would you trade Justin Fields and Hollywood Brown for Dobbs while I have Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek, and Justin Herbert? Also have Mostert, Achane, Kamara, and Najee. Is anyone else playing in this league with you, Adrian? Well done. So we got Fields, so you don't need Fields. You don't need Hollywood Brown.
You don't need Dobbs either.
You don't need Dobbs either.
No, I would just go upgrade another horse. Wide receivers are stacked, obviously, with Justin coming back. Jefferson. Running backs are okay. Maybe another, go get one of the Lions. I think would fill this up a little bit better. Maybe package Mostert and Hollywood and a quarterback if you need to, and go get another horse. Jonathan Taylor on a bye and eat that. Bijan maybe Gibbs or Montgomery, but Mostert is a fade for me with HN coming back, and I had him in my trade away.
Javonte Williams, Rashid White.
Well, what's Fields' trade market right now? I mean, if this, I don't think you need to worry about Dobbs. You have Herbert, right? So that's the QB you probably
Dobbs
feel
is
the
a
most
great
comfortable
backup,
with.
though. Dobbs
Yeah,
is a great free backup.
Yeah, and I'm sure he wants to stack him with Jefferson. You see what he's doing there.
So the question is, what package would we give? So you have to find a team that needs a QB. But my question is, what's the Justin Fields trade value right now?
Oh, man. I mean, I think it's great because first of all, think of his upside. He's top 10 minimum, top 5 upside. Okay, whatever, top 8 if you want to average out. So many starting quarterbacks are hurt, or they've been out, or they are inconsistent. So you've had Daniel Jones, Matt Stafford, right? I mean, Russell Wilson maybe didn't believe it, but now you have whatever. There's a lot of opportunities there where like Trevor Lawrence is a big fade for me. He was in my trade away article, and here we are. Like, he's droppable in some smaller leagues. So I think Fields has a lot of value with teams that need a quarterback. Dobbs would not. You're not trading Herbert, or I wouldn't. But I think Fields absolutely has a lot of value, plus these other pieces that are starters. Hollywood and Mostert would be starters.
Could you package Devontae Adams and Justin Fields to get one of the elite guys that you don't have? Cooper Kupp, A.J. Brown. Do you think that's a good trade?
I wouldn't do it because, first of all, Jefferson is not back yet, technically. And even if he's not Justin Jefferson yet. So I don't want to get rid of Adams yet. I'd rather try to move like Mostert.
Well, you're getting Cooper Kupp instead. You're going to get another receiver. You're going to get A.J. Brown. You're going to get Cooper Kupp.
So here's an actual trade I looked at while we were talking. This could be in League 2 for us, Derek. Would we trade Devontae and Puka to get Kupp and Zay Flowers? Would we make that deal? Or is that just moving seats on the deck?
No, I don't like that.
Okay. Kupp and Javonte.
Yes.
I like that.
So you would give up Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua for Kupp and Javonte Williams?
Yes, easily.
Yes.
Yep. You think the other guy would take that deal?
No.
Yeah. Well, I mean, depends on the roster, but Adrian putting in some solid work. Well done. Made some great trades early with teams that were struggling. Well done. And now you can see what that team looks like, even with a couple of injuries. Lindorfin's back. Thanks, guys. Humble brag. Managed to win last week without Hurts, Jay Brown, and Tyreek. This past week, thanks mostly to Singletary, which obviously we told you to do that, and Noah Brown. Thanks for all the help. Always, Lindorphins, we appreciate you, buddy. No problem. All right, Dylan's back. Was looking at a roster. We're all from Baltimore. Okay, great. So you got a little Orioles bias. I like that. Shouts out to our friend Brady Anderson.
They might have crab at Thanksgiving.
That makes sense.
And I'm in.
Closer to the water there, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that a lot. A little maybe like early days Mike Mussina highlights. I can dig
little obey on the turkey.
Yeah, some potatoes, corn, onions, the little lemons. Yeah. I mean, if they have open seats, Jen's in Tampa, Dylan, hit me up, right? I'm there.
I'm only 3 hours away, Dylan.
Dylan, if you got a couple plus ones, buddy, put us on the list. We'll let you know. We never gave you advice either. We're just some random guys you found on the street, brought us in for a nice warm meal. We'll never talk about it ever again. Keaton Mitchell, would you love this trade? Okay, we got Kelsey, Bijan, and Mitchell for Mixon, Andrews, Michael Thomas, who I think might be done, and Downs. Too unfair, question mark? Matt?
If you change Mike Thomas to Hollywood Brown, it becomes a little more fair for the sister, but I still think it's in your favor.
Not by much, though.
No. Not by much.
No.
That shaped it up a lot, actually. I think Michael Thomas is legit out. I'll double check real quick.
Yeah,
and by the way,
I think you've got to switch out Michael Thomas.
Or favorite pass catcher. It's Hollywood Brown, and it's not close. So it's not as unfair as it may look on paper today.
So, he gave us a big clue here. They're from Baltimore. Everyone's from Baltimore. So moving Andrews weighs a lot more than it does to them than it does for us. We got to keep that in mind. Same with Keaton Mitchell coming back. But I I think you need to take out Thomas. In fact, you can probably just drop him and change out, put a different name in there, and I think you've got a pretty good deal.
But you're also not yet, and might get canceled out by the fact that it's a sister. She could be a huge Taylor Swift fan. That means she loves Kelsey now. That balances out the Andrews love, and now we're back to square one. So,
Bobby, you're playing 4D chess here.
Yeah.
Wow.
People
Bob,
in Baltimore, they like
Same.
football. They like their sports more than their music in Baltimore.
Bob, one step at a time here. Good luck, Dylan. Let us know how it goes there, bud. Isaiah, this isn't even throwing shade. I'm gonna assume Isaiah is actually a Packers fan. So this isn't even throwing shade. Just a quick comment, not even a question. Just drop it in to suggest that it sucks being a Packers fan, comma, but is Luke Musgrave a good pickup? Derek, let's go to you first.
I can't believe you came to me for a Packers question first.
Yeah. Well, I mean, our Packers analyst, I think, left the room.
Yeah. I don't mind it. I mean, he's not going to be my first choice, second or third choice, probably at tight end, but I don't mind it at all. I'd take him over maybe, if you're struggling between, Kate Otten or Komet every week, someone like that, then yeah, I wouldn't mind Musgrave, but I'm not excited about it.
Okay, fair enough. Bob?
questions about Luke Musgrave, right?
Yep.
Yes.
He is a streamable match player in good matchups.
Matt, would you like to chime in?
He's okay, but we don't know the context, right? Who are you starting him over or adding him over?
Love that. Like, way to gather yourself and come back strong with a professional answer.
That's what I am. If I'm nothing else, I'm a professional.
Dylan, we have confirmation here. Dylan will be bringing his side of the family to the Razzball squad. We appreciate that. And again, feel free to jump in on a couple of those plus ones. Dylan also letting us know that it will be crab cakes for sure.
Love
A
it.
little Old Bay on the turkey.
Yes,
well
right.
Done. Well done, boys. Way to bring it. And bring y'all as plus ones for a nice meal. Dylan, I like this kid. Where did you come from, bro? Like, what is
have we officially, you know what?
From Maryland.
I mean, jeez.
Guy, will you give him the official Razzball quad box invite to Sunday?
Absolutely. Yes. Okay, Dylan, here's the deal. Every single Sunday we do this episode, but it's actually 7 minutes shorter. Okay. And we have, we have start sit questions from everybody and trade analysis every single Sunday morning, right before kickoff. Okay. So you get your Justin Tucker, right? Bib out, right? You have your old Tony Siragusa lounge ready to go. All right. You're ready to go with a couple Flacco flags in the background. And you join us a couple hours before your kickoff, and we set your lineups for you. Please make sure to let us know how that trade went down, and we want to officially invite you and your family to come and join us on Sunday. Big thing is I don't want to give up my boy Hollywood from Baltimore a year ago.
You got to give something. You got to give something to get something. Yeah. Hollywood is a Baltimore guy. Andrews is a Baltimore guy. Your family and the other family know that. So this trade looks even better now that we remember Hollywood played for the Ravens. Hollywood, Andrews, and either Mixon or Pollard for Kelsey and Bijan and Mitchell. Done deal. Fair, above board. We said nothing. Right?
I didn't say it. I just invited him to come to the show if you'd like to. It's not even a call to action. It's just a suggestion if you have nothing else going on. So we have
give me those crab cakes.
So we have Savage, not to be confused with Savage. I believe this is a distant cousin here, Chris.
I don't trust this for a minute. Not for a minute do I trust that.
Man, how about this? Starting with the Lion right off the bat, too. That's a little sus, if you ask me. Would you trade Amon-Ra, Evan Ingram, Taysom Bill, and Tyler Boyd for Kenneth Walker, Olave, and Hawkinson? This is a 12-team, 3-wide receiver PPR league. Which side do you want here, Matt?
I think Taysom Hill's season is close to being over, especially with him being on bye. But I'm oh boy. Hawkinson is much better than Ingram. We can all agree on that. I still think the best player in this deal is Amon-Ra, but Kenneth Walker, Olave, and Hawkinson for basically Amon-Ra, St. Brown, and I think I have to take this trade.
Derek.
I hate it. But the trade, and analytically, the trade on the back end is better numbers overall.
Yeah. Wow. I need to know what's going on here. His standing is he just setting himself up for the playoffs? Is he fighting for a playoff spot? Because boy, I would really hate to trade Amon-Ra St. Brown. And Ingram is top 10 easily, tight end every week, or should be. So I mean, I don't really, I could do away with Boyd, but he's. I could see why Matt says that, but I would. I don't like it. I don't like to make the deal, but if I need to make a move for my team to make the playoffs, I have to. But
let me frame Derek's response.
Ugh.
Derek, be honest. Coming into the season, who was your favorite wide receiver?
Oh, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Okay, we can move on.
Yeah.
He's biased, and he's biased for a good reason. He's got a lot of love for Amon-Ra, and so do I. He's carried us when healthy. So I think for Savage Chris, wink, wink, the better side of the deal without emotion is the second half, but I'd be hard-pressed to deal Amon-Ra St.
Yeah, I if I'm pushing the button to accept, I have bile in my throat while I'm doing it. But because Olave, okay, with Thomas gone now, Olave, you think he's going to get targeted more, he's going to perform, but he hasn't been that great. And Hawkinson, like you said, Bobby, he's going to get killed out there. So I don't know. And Kenny Walker, no, I don't know. I might just stand pat. I don't.
Bob,
anyway, move on. It's late. Move on.
I just personally think the Taysom Hill and Tyler Boyd is throwing. It's fluff. I think you need to zoom in. It's Amon-Ra and Evan Ingram for Kenneth Walker, Olave, and Hawkinson. So, in my opinion, for this trade, if I needed a running back, I'm taking the deal because Hawkinson's an upgrade on Ingram. Olave is a drop off, but you're taking a top 10 wide receiver and going to top 20 easy, maybe even top 5 to top 15, and then I'm getting in a low end RB1, borderline RB1. That's a good deal for me. So I'm going to take that and go with Kenneth Walker, Olave, and Hawkinson.
Nailed it. Totally agree. Derek, just a quick thought here. If you do end up with reduced gastric acid, right, which is kind of that heartburn.
But I could eat a pear, right?
Well, bananas, melons, apples, and pears and coconuts are the top 5 fruits to help with heartburn, indigestion, any of that bile when you're making a trade. Have a banana, a melon, an apple. There you go, right there on standby. Pears, coconuts. Have those on standby. Make that trade. Boom. Slip down a smoothie. You'll be just fine. You'll be right back with us.
I'm going to need it. I'm going to need
Russian Collision. First of all, fabulous YouTube handle on a fantasy football show with Emmitt Smith as the handle. So 3 for 3. Skipped over my chat. Unfortunately, I scrolled all the way back through and didn't see it. New viewer, appreciate that. And thank you for joining us. If I did skip over or anyone else sees it, bring it right to the top. Otherwise, unfortunately, I did not see it. So drop your question back in here and we can get to you quickly. All the guys are jumping back in on our earlier comments. We appreciate you guys. We're going to get moving on here so we can potentially get out of here. Daniel is tuning in. Damn, tonight must be Thanksgiving because Razzball cooking with all the goods. That is true. We're not going to do it now. No spoiler alerts, but fabulous. Derek had a little indigestion. Boom. Solving problems right off the bat. We like that. You come for the fantasy takes. You stay for the non-official medical advice. We will be dropping our favorite Thanksgiving snacks, treats, moist makers, if you will, our staples for Thanksgiving.
Sides.
We will be getting into all those on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving for that show. So make sure you come ready. Have yours so you can drop them in the comments so we can make sure to make that best, beautiful dinner. And, of course, 3 games on Thanksgiving, ending with my Niners beating the Seahawks. So make sure you tune in for that as well. All right. Who's a good running back to trade for? We're going to end on this one, everybody. We have been here for 2.5 hours. It is late on all sides of the country at this point, so we're going to shut it down here. Isaiah, we did have your big question, bud. But we're going to just go with a couple generic running backs. We've mentioned a bunch already. we did not actually get to our names here. So instead of going through our conversation, gentlemen, that we were going to get into with our sheet, we can save this maybe or update it for next week, which I love. But maybe let's just cherry pick here. As we sign off, I'd like everybody to just mention their 2 names and give me a sentence or 2 why those are trade for or trade away targets. We're not going to do the whole round robin. We don't have time for that. But let's get into it quickly. Bob, I'm going to have you start with your top 2. You've mentioned James Conner already, but let us know James Conner and whom and why they're trade for or trade away. Give us a sentence or 2, and then we'll move on to Derek, Matt, and then myself to close out.
Well, James Conner and Cooper Kupp are basically undervalued, suppressed value due to some injuries of their own, and plus injuries to important players on their team. So James Conner can probably be had for a wide receiver 2 right now, maybe like a Christian Kirk type player. I would say I would even flip a Ramondre Stevenson and add in a player like Gabe Davis, for example, a wide receiver 3 to get James Conner. I think he's going to give you borderline RB1 numbers, elite usage. The other one is Cooper Kupp. Very rarely can you get a top 5 player, not just receiver, in fantasy football right now. And I think Cooper Kupp is that guy. So I've been floating around, and I was trying to get your guys' feedback on this. Jalen Waddle and Swift, is that too much for a player like Cooper Kupp? What's your thoughts?
I'd rather have Kupp.
Yeah, same.
All right. I'm going to make that offer. Those are my 2 guys, Cooper Kupp, James Conner. What's your thoughts, Derek?
Yeah, so for me, DK Metcalf's the first one. He's been a kind of a trade away for much of the season, but now he's a trade for. Seattle's got a great lineup coming up, and DK, he's healthier now. He's getting the ball. He's playing well, and so I would say I would want him. I would say you could possibly trade Debo to get DK Metcalf. That would be a trade that I would make if you have Debo. Amari Cooper. I don't know if Amari Cooper is enough to get Debo. What do you guys think?
Debo, Cooper, Metcalf is how I would rank them rest of the season.
Okay, that's interesting.
Doubling down on your Week 10 DK hate.
Yeah. So my other name is
right. So I'm just going to do that again.
Oh my God.
So my other name is Rashid Shaheed, New Orleans. So of course they're on bye, but New Orleans faces the defense ranked second best rest of the season for slot. Of course, we know Thomas is out. Olave probably moves out wide a little bit more, leaving Shaheed pretty good. Either a wide receiver 3 or a flex play. I mean, he's only rostered in about half of leagues, and he's getting 6+ targets 3 of the last 5, including 9 last week after Thomas went out. So clearly Shaheed is bumped up the food chain there in New Orleans. So he'd be one I'd want to go for. And I would trade Christian Watson to get Shaheed. What do you guys think about that?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, agreed.
All right.
Okay, Maddie, before you get going here, we wrap out. Can we do a Razzball Thanksgiving food draft? It's a great suggestion. We'll have that ready for you on the Tuesday before the Thursday game, so tune in again, and we'll have that ready for you, Daniel. Great suggestion. Russian didn't miss the note, but did drop it back in here, so I want to oblige that. By the way, 8-2 for Russian collision. Not sure why you need our help, but let's try to do our best here. Pollard, Burrow, Kamara, Kirk, Debo, Musgrave, Addison. Any moves to be made here with Jacobs? I think we talked about maybe Addison, if you can get him, just because we got Jefferson coming back. Pollard, we've talked about a lot tonight, maybe moving off of. Does anyone else have another suggestion?
Yeah, I want to add a receiver.
McBride over Musgrave if McBride's still on your wire.
Yeah, and I'd want to try to add a receiver, a little better receiver, a little more consistent receiver. Actually, someone who would fit really well on this team is Courtland Sutton to me. Nice floor, nice even floor to build on and let the others, build up. So yeah, I would look for another receiver.
Yeah, and maybe you let Pollard blow up this week, and then you deal him for the receiver you need.
I like it.
Yeah,
Bob?
Pollard and Addison, I would package to probably get an upgrade at either position. Trying to go for probably a low-end wide receiver 1 like Mike Evans type player would be good there because that's somebody that could probably be at that position the rest of the season. I don't know if you can get Amon-Ra St. Brown, but if you can shoot for the stars, go for it. But running back wise, I would even look at maybe like Kenneth Walker for those two. Might be a good duo to get reasonable RB1 there. So that's kind of my thoughts for that.
Look at another Lions running back too, Gibbs or Montgomery. Would you do Amon-Ra, Evan Ingram, Boyd, and Taysom Hill? Got Hawkinson, Walker, and Olave. So not sure what the question is here.
It's the same question we had before.
Wasn't that Savage Chris?
Yeah, maybe, but Hawkinson, Olave. I'm the Hawkinson side. Hawkinson, Olave, Kenneth Walker, and Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah, that was Savage. That was Savage Chris. Same question.
Yeah, this is the question that led me to get the bananas out.
Got it. Love it. And James Conner just traded for him in another league. Dylan is completely on point. Matt, why don't we run off here? We are done with questions, folks. We love you all. Hit us up in the DMs. Join us on Sunday morning, 2 hours before kickoff. We'll answer the rest of your questions, but we're not answering any more tonight. So we are done for the evening with that. Matt, why don't you let us know 2 of your trade targets, and I will do the same.
Mine are getting a little soft, right? So I had trade for Devontae, but after this discussion with Bob and noting that his trade for was Cooper Kupp, and I think the group agreed if I can deal, Derek and I can deal Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua and get back Cooper Kupp and Javonte Williams, we should smash that. So I'm going to hit submit, right? You see it here, right? Boom. That is submitted. Now, I still think you can go out and get Devontae Adams for a Tony Pollard. You can get Devontae Adams for DK Metcalf or Kenneth Walker. You can get Devontae still, and you're still buying low, unless it's somebody like me that has an unfair bias towards Devontae Adams. My other name is Olave, but I'm softening on Olave just a little bit because of the Michael Thomas injury update. I still think he's going to be good, but now on the other side is going to be a guy named A.T. Perry. Look that up. Raise your hand if you'd heard of him before. So I think, Bob, really?
6'5", 205, A.T. Perry. Shouts out to our tall boys.
He's the poor man's Lil Jordan Humphrey.
Wow. Wait, wouldn't he be the tall man's Lil Jordan? Never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I like Olave. I think that if Jameis can figure it out, because he looked awful when he came in off the bench, then Olave's a good buy low, because the problem with Olave is he's a big name. People are still pricing him as a big name. So I'm going to lean probably a little bit closer to Derek here, and maybe you go after Rashid Shaheed over Olave, and I'm good with the names that Derek shared. Now, same league where we just made the offer with Devontae Adams. If that doesn't work out, are we saying that we should offer our Debo for their DK Metcalf? I know Sky said no.
I'm a wash on that one. I think it's close. If you look at their rest of season schedules, use the Razzball tool. They're both very good. So I think you're going to be one of those where you win some weeks, lose others.
All right. So then my final comment for tonight on our 16-hour marathon program: if I do not see Dylan Fink on the Sunday morning start sit show, I'm not going to be mad, Guy. What am I going to be?
Well,
I'm going to be disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, we're all parents here. I mean, I get it. And
but what are the odds that he can get his sister to chime in as well, and we can chat her side of this deal?
No, I think it's fine. I think again, we addressed that this is not going to be a collusion. There's no collusion here. This is simply 2 family members making a healthy fantasy football trade in a family league. It happens all the time. No collusion. I love it. Mikey checking in, no question. So I wanted to bring it up here. Just wanted to chime in. Just traded for Devontae Adams, traded away Devonta Smith and Tyler Lockett, got back Adams and Hopkins, full PPR. Thumbs up, thumbs down on that move. Getting Adams and Hopkins for Smith and Lockett. Thumbs up or down? I'm pretty 50-50 as well. Okay, Bob's at 59-41 for Bob.
I was thinking 50. Scott, you
fair?
get me. Our nonverbals are good. I'm feeling it.
I love it. All right, great. Any other thoughts here on Matt's suggestions? So we're gravitating toward Olave and Adams potentially. Any other thoughts before I give you mine and get out of here?
I want to push back on one thing Matt said, though. Jameis Winston is fantasy gold. Oh, my God. He is fantasy because the best part about Jameis is that he goes YOLO. He'll throw every deep pass, and then he'll throw a bunch of picks, which causes more points for the other team, and then he's got to throw more. It is absolutely the greatest thing ever. So I hope Derek Carr takes some time off because I guarantee you Chris Olave will go through the roof.
I love that. All right, boys, I'm going to give you my final two, and we're going to tune off here. Once again, everybody, you've been listening to the Razzball Fantasy Football YouTube show. Thank you so much for all the commentary tonight. It's been a blast. I'm going to give you two more trade suggestions. You can find my full article coming out tomorrow morning, dropping on football.razzball.com. Maddie's article is already ready for your waiver pickups last minute. Derek will be dropping his top 5 things to know on the week heading into the weekend, and Bob is, of course, going to have the slot versus wide mentions as well. Najee Harris is a guy that I'm actually targeting. I know I'm going to need – I just had a banana. Literally, I just ate a banana on air because I got a little indigestion thinking about that. But Najee Harris has scored a touchdown in 3 of the last 4 games. He is the running back 9, folks, 9 in PPR since the bye week in week 6. Week 7 through 10, he's running back number 9. He was running back 36 in the first 6 weeks of the season. I love that. Ramondre Stevenson, I would rather trade away and get Najee Harris. And Amari Cooper is another guy maybe I would trade away. I just don't love the schedule coming up. I'm going to sell on Deshaun Watson right now. So Amari Cooper would be a guy I would trade away for Najee Harris. The next guy we talked about a little bit tonight as well, Broncos are on the come up. Russell Wilson's cooking. Jerry Jeudy is not. But Cortland Sutton is. Should have had a bigger game on Monday Night Football. He is over 15 PPR fantasy points in 3 of the last 4 games. I love that consistency, as we mentioned. Plus, he's got some boom potential there. Tyler Lockett is a guy that I would move if I could. And a pairing maybe, Brandon Cooks, who had a blow-up game, so sell that immediately if you can. And A.J. Dillon, who's kind of splitting work in Green Bay. If I could split Brandon Cooks and A.J. Dillon and go get Cortland Sutton, who I still don't think people really buy into the Broncos, I would do that personally. I'm getting Najee Harris and Cortland Sutton. Any quick thoughts on my trade targets before we get out of here?
Yeah, I like the Sutton move.
Dude.
Yeah, nice floor every week.
Watching that game last night, and I love it. I made it 2 hours without being really blurry. Watching that game last night, it's clear that Sutton is like, not only is he an every down player, but he is way beyond Jerry Jeudy. So like, I was on Jeudy last night, and I was like, totally wrong. So when you brought up Sutton today, I'm like, I actually think he is someone that even though he's been productive the last few weeks, I still don't think people view him as like a consistent wide receiver too. So you could probably get him relatively cheap. And possibly I would even be willing to take a haircut at a running back to throw in Sutton. Like, drop down maybe a half a tier at running back to add Sutton into the trade to solidify my flex spot.
Yeah, double-digit fantasy points in 8 of 9 games.
Enough with the haircut talk, Bob.
I had to throw my shot. You know what I mean? Yeah, it is what it is. End of the day. I've been nice for 2.5 hours. I can't be nice anymore. I said it. Hair, whatever. There you go.
Folks, that's going to be all for us. For those of you that are exhausted and you're heading to bed, kiwis and cherries are the best for a good night's sleep in the fruit world. So have any indigestion, go ahead and hit that banana, maybe an apple, a pear, get a little pumpkin perhaps there. Do have seeds in the middle, or some coconut, melons. And then when you're heading to bed, kiwi and cherry, great opportunity for you. Bob, we want to thank you for stepping up, getting out of your comfort zone tonight, joining us and everybody else around the world and enjoying a couple of pears. So thank you for doing that. And we'll be continuing to rank fruits and other random things on this podcast. Appreciate everybody for hanging out with us. Again, Derek _Favret, Bobby Lamarco, @Styles08. All 4 of our articles live and ready to go every single week for free, along with our other great writers on football.razzball.com. Check us out Sunday, 2 hours before kickoff, right here on the YouTube channel for all of your starts and questions. An episode very similar to tonight. Trade questions, trade deadlines coming up, and waiver as well. Come and check us out. Super chat if you'd like to get your question answered a little quicker. Any contributions are much appreciated. And go to a donation for our good friends supporting the youth through good sports. You can also, of course, download the podcast there as well. Razzball Fantasy Football Podcast, anywhere you listen to your podcasts. And we will check you out next time. Bob, you can go ahead and run us out with anything else. Otherwise, I wish everybody well on our next week of Razzball Fantasy Football Show.
That was perfect. Love you guys. Great night. Talk to you later.